Welcome back to the BlunderSpeaker show, everyone. Massive pleasure to have you here again. Come on in. Let's get chilled. Let's get relaxed. We've got a real special episode tonight here. I mentioned off the back of the Scotland episode last time that I had a little bit of something special in mind, a little bit of a celebration. I mentioned a couple of nice little milestones that I reached, and I felt like celebrating. And what better way to celebrate than with my favourite spirit in the game? It is, of course, Starlight seeks its form. I wanted to make sure that I was in control over when I got Starlight onto the show. Obviously, in previous episodes, we've, well, you know what, before I even get into previous episodes, why don't I start with my name first? I'm Tepid Goose. I am your host, of course, as always. Big welcome back to everybody. If you've been on here and watched the show before, if you're new, come on in. This might all seem a little bit crazy if you don't know what Spirit Island is about, but we are, of course, the BlunderSpeaker show, and I talk and play and do everything related to this show. And we have something a little bit different here tonight as well, as I say. But yeah, look, leading up until this episode, we've of course been going through the adversary series. We've got 4 out of the way now. Really happy with how it's going so far. Of course, that's 4 out of 8, so we're halfway done. Got 4 of them in the books, and really glad to say that I'm gonna take a little bit of mix it up a little bit and bring something, as I say, a little bit special tonight. So we have Starlight. You can see there's only one spirit, but of course you can probably see that there are 2 island boards. So you can see there's probably something a little bit funky up right off the bat. We are going to be playing Starlight. We're going to be playing Scotland 6. You can see the Scotland reminders over here. So we just finished a game against Scotland, but there was a couple of little mishaps along the way there, and while none of them were really impacting on the result, it left a slightly sour taste in my mouth, especially with how one of those escalations went in the middle of the game. So I'm hoping I'm going to get them back again. Go for round 2, but this time we're really going to crank up the difficulty. So we're going for Scotland 6. We're going for an extra island board, which is really bringing a lot of complication. And we have something very special tonight, which is going to be a scenario on top of everything else, and it's going to be elemental invocation. Of course, what else? What other way could we, or what better way could we get Starlight's introduction to the show than bringing it with the elemental invocation scenario? So I'm going to talk through what all of that looks like and what all of it means and everything now in just a moment. So that's basically going to be the plan here. It's a super difficult matchup. Obviously, Scotland is kind of a difficulty 10 again, as per the game sort of rating. I was looking into this a little bit earlier on to try to gauge what it might look like in terms of an overall difficulty. The rules kind of state that a difficulty 10 with an extra island board is probably more like a difficulty an extra +5. Now, whether or not +5 is actually realistic or reasonable, it sort of probably depends on the game, but we're talking about somewhere around maybe even 4, maybe 5. Elemental invocation itself then is somewhere around a difficulty somewhere between a 0 and a 3, according to again the creators of the game, and that totally depends on the nature of your spirit and everything else. In a standard game with Starlight, I would say very much a difficulty 0 because of how much of a benefit it gives to Starlight. Again, we'll get into what that looks like, but there's one thing that it does is it's going to accelerate the invader deck, and given the already pretty severe level of difficulty that we're playing off the bat, I'm absolutely not going to say that this is going to be an extra +0. Absolutely, under no circumstances. It's going to be at least a +1 to accelerate that deck. So, but look, we'll see what all that looks like momentarily. We've got everything set out on the board. We do, of course, have the card cams and all those other kind of things set up here. The card cam we'll check in on right now is empty. It's my lovely broken token fear box over there, and we'll obviously be placing our cards in there and hoping that my battery on my phone doesn't die. So let's hope that all stays together for the session. It is on full battery as of the start of this recording, so let's hope it lasts. We've got Starlight plugged in here. So here's the spirit panel for Starlight. if you're familiar with them, you'll probably know that they are, of course, the greatest playable character in any game ever. At least according to me, in my totally unbiased opinion. But look, I absolutely love this spirit. There's so much going on with it. If you don't know Starlight, I'll be totally honest, this probably isn't the game to learn them as such. This won't be a sort of a go through all the nooks and crannies type of a session here. I will probably do more of an in-depth look at Starlight maybe in its own dedicated episode. This won't be that, and we'll get to why now momentarily. So you can see here, obviously I've got my cards plugged in. I have my Scotland panel here, and you may well have heard that I made a mistake during my previous session, and I was using the incorrect card panel for Scotland, which I'd gotten off someone else, so I'm going to blame them. But we had the wording on the card said during play in coastal lands for the level 1, but it's supposed to say after setup in coastal lands. So you are not supposed to explore with towns during the opening explore, and I of course did in that game. So I have the correct language here on the card. And finally then we have elemental invocation itself. So I think why don't we start here, given that this is kind of the most different thing and the most new thing that we're bringing. So, of course, it has a picture of Starlight, which is probably not surprising given how well this aligns to the nature of Starlight. So basically what elemental invocation is going to do, these are just sort of easier and harder type notes here, but if I come to the actual panel itself. So first of all, we're going to get a setup change. We are going to be instructed to get our element markers ready, and you can see I've got them just on the top of the screen there, and it's going to tell me on each board add a town to land number 6, and then add 1 fear card to terror level 1, and then accelerate the invader deck. So this is going to be a setup thing, and this happens, accelerating the invader deck is going to happen, does that happen before or after you There's a good question. Does accelerating the deck happen before or after you do your, what does it say there? Setup changes. Yeah, I think that happens. I think the opening explorer is the last thing that's going to happen. Sorry, yeah. So you're going to accelerate the deck first, and then you're going to do the opening explorer. Now, in reality, you've got two stage 1 cards here. So because they're random and it could go in either order. It won't really make a difference. But I'm pretty certain that you accelerate before you do your opening explorer. So that's the way we'll be playing it. So yeah, you can see here we're going to get an extra town. We're going to get an extra fear card in terror level 1, and with Scotland we already know they're 6/6/4. So that's going to make them now a 7/6/4, and then we're going to accelerate the deck, which is already pretty tough, as we would have seen as part of our Scotland analysis here. So that's going to be basically our setup changes. So there's some extra added difficulty. So what do we get in return? Well, we get this placing elements ability, and this is going to say once per spirit phase, each spirit may pay energy to place 1 element marker on a corner of one of their lands. So this can be an intersection of lands. It could be, it could be along the coast. Basically anywhere where there's a corner on your on one of the lands that you are in. So on one of their lands means you need to be in the land, and you can place an element marker, which are of course one of these element markers. These lands up here in the top, and each corner can only hold 1 element marker, and they are permanent, so they're going to sit there. Well, what do they do then? Well, they're sitting there. So the cost itself, is 1 energy plus an additional energy per adjacent corner that already has an element marker. So just to clarify what that means here, let's say the first time I do this is going to cost me 1. Let's say I place it there, for example. There's a corner, and I've just placed an air element into that corner right there. If on my following turn I would like to place, for example, a water element right there, that's going to cost me 1 plus 1 because there's an air element right there. If I were to, for example, have placed that there, it would be 1 plus 1 still because that's adjacent. Is that adjacent? How's that wording done again here? I probably should have clarified this. Per adjacent corner that already has an element marker. Adjacent means along land boundaries. Yes, so correct. Yeah. So this is along the land boundary of the sands there. So that is adjacent. And that would cost me 1. But if I was to go ahead then and place 1 in here, on the phone. Sorry, let's go back here. If I was then to go and place this fire element in here, this is now adjacent to 2, so that's going to cost me 1 plus an additional 2. It's going to cost me 3 total energy to place that fire marker down. So obviously here we need to be very careful about where we're placing them on the island, and make sure that we don't kind of make a mess of that. We want to be kind of spreading out as much as we can, if we can. Clearly here this one would not be adjacent to the air because it's not along the land boundary. So that's just something to be aware of there. Again, how is that worded here? Adjacent corner, adjacent means along land boundaries. Yeah, so again here, even though, let's go back here, even though, for example, in this situation, these are both in this mountain, that's not along a land boundary here, because it's not an adjacent corner, should I say. So there's kind of a corner between them. So they wouldn't be adjacent, but clearly that would be, and that would be, and that would be. Oh. So this is adjacent and this is also adjacent. Is that correct? Oh, well, we haven't even started the thing, but I need to clarify this because clearly this is important, and I am going to have to do a little bit of a runaway, check something on the internet and come back to you here. So just bear with me just a moment while I check this. I'm barely past my intro and I'm already checking rules. Apologies for this, folks, but this is a bit of an oddball one, so I'll have to take a moment. Okay, I'm glad I checked it because I was actually saying this wrong. So, okay, let's go back to the example that we had before again here. What I had said before was that this air and water were adjacent because they were along this boundary of the sands. That's not true. These are not adjacent. Even though they're along the one boundary of the sands, these are adjacent. So in this case, basically, the air has an adjacency to the water on the fire. But if you remove that, these are not adjacent. So that's important here. So that's fine. It's basically just one single strip of border creates the adjacent corner. So that's how that's all going to work. And as I say, you can do things like place that on the corner there next to the ocean. That does count. It's not a great placement, of course, because it's only touching 2 lands, and ideally you'd like to get the most out of the elements that you're placing. And we will continue reading the rules of the cards to understand why that is the case. So let's bring back up the panel here. So that's kind of how to place them, and that's how much it costs. Spirits may only place element markers which they have on a power card in hand, play, or discard. So you can't just place any ones. You need to actually have one of those element symbols either in your hand, play, or discard. And then if you run out of an element marker, which we won't, you can use substitute pieces. But what are the benefits of them? So how they work is when you use a land targeting power, elements on target land's corners count towards that power's thresholds. So elemental thresholds can basically be reached more easily when targeting certain lands. So I'll show an example of that in a moment. Each element marker on the board counts as 2 energy towards choice events aided by that element, which is quite nice. And then we also have here, element markers do not help spirit targeting powers or special rules that check how many elements you have. For example, swiftness and lightning. I'm not sure there are many others. And the bonus can help you hit a threshold on a power that would otherwise do nothing, but can't help with boost range or make a power fast. So here, that last little section there is basically telling us, that we can use these elements to reach thresholds that we otherwise wouldn't have. So let's again, for example, just throw a couple of these down so we understand what that means. If I'm using Starlight's innate powers, and this is why this is so good, of course, this scenario works so well with Starlight, is you can use the elements to reach your thresholds. So usually in order to hit basically all of my thresholds here, I'd need 3 of a certain element, but if I have these element markers in place, I can kind of get away with only having 2 of them, provided that I'm targeting a land that's touching that element. So what does that mean? In this case, if I'd like to hit my air innate, let's just quickly bring up Starlight's air innate. You can see it there. Air moves, earth endures, range 1, and it's going to be 3 air, and I can push up to 2 explorers or a town. So in this example, if I'd like to use that ability, I need to be range 1 into a land, and if I choose any of these 3 lands here, let's say 1, 2, or 3, if I pick any of those 3 lands, those are all touching this air element. And if I pick one of those lands, I can actually use the air innate in the land when only having 2 air on my cards. So let's say I play 2 cards, both of them have an air element. I place the air element, and that'll give me my 3rd air to actually activate the air innate. And of course, I can do that multiple times over the game, right? So if I place it once, I can then later on keep reusing the same air element, so to speak. So it's very, very powerful. They kind of, you build them out across the map, and you can kind of use them to hit your elements. You can, of course, use them to hit thresholds of major powers, for example, as well, and things like that. So it's really, really strong. Did we get everything? I think we more or less said everything. So yeah, they count towards power thresholds, and they benefit us from choice events as well. So that's the general gist of everything. You can see here my extra board. So let's have a quick talk about that one first, because it's the easiest. It has nothing on it. So it starts the game with just the kind of your regular pieces, like your Dahan, your tokens, and your blight is going to start on the extra board. Now there are extra board rules here. I don't have them configured in an overlay, but essentially what it means is when you're playing with one player, or one spirit, should I say, you will add nothing. You don't add any invaders as part of the opening setup, and you don't do the opening explore either. So let me just pick that up and read that. So yeah, it says none, not even the initial explore. So when we explore here, we're not actually going to explore on that island tile, but we will then for the rest of the game, of course, go and explore in there. So we do get a bonus and a benefit that because we're only one spirit, that starts in an easy position, but something tells me that's going to start looking pretty horrible pretty quickly. So that's something to bear in mind. You can see here on the actual island tile for Starlight, I have drawn island board D, which is a disaster against Scotland, and that should probably, if you ever had any any doubts about whether I was actually randomizing everything in my games, giving myself board D for this challenge was certainly not something smart to do if I'm trying to somehow cheat a victory. So clearly I've drawn a disaster board, but look, we'll see how that all plays out. Starlight is very, very strong, and I have strong hopes for them in this particular game, especially with the benefit of all these elements. So that's going to be that. We talked about the extra island board. We talked about the scenario. We know Scotland. We generally know the gist of what they do. Just for 2 seconds here, let's bring them up. They're going to explore in the coast with towns. They're going to do adjacency builds on the coast if they're next to cities. You've got the extra city starting in land 2. I've done the configuration of the deck, of course, according to the Scotland 4 here. So it should start as 1-1-2-2-3 coastal to 3-3-3-3, but of course we're now going to accelerate one of those ones away, which is a disaster. We have the extra blight add, and we have then the horrible inland thing that happens after each ravage step, which is going to contribute towards building up that whole side of the island board over there. So clearly here, this is a very, very difficult challenge. Is it diff 14? Is it diff 16? Is it somewhere in the middle? Hard to say for sure. I'll probably have a better idea once we actually finish the game. But now that I've spent 19 minutes fumbling my way through the through the setup on the thing, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the acceleration and then the opening explore. So first of all, I'm going to accelerate the deck, and that is wetlands, which is good news because we don't like going to wetlands when we're on board D, and we know we're going there with coastal later on. So accelerating that is pretty good. We're now going to open with then the explore of mountains. So let's start, and as we said, we don't explore on that board at all, and on this board we will slightly waste, if I can use the term, the special rule of not exploring with towns, because not exploring coasts with towns because I didn't hit one, but that's quite okay. I hit 2 lands that don't contain buildings, which is probably pretty nice news here as well. So that's our opening explore. The opening for Starlight itself is somewhat templated. Not everybody will agree with this, but there's a sort of a general consensus, I would say, or if there was a general consensus, it's probably for what I'm about to do right now. I had considered trying some kind of some spicy sort of variant on the opening thing, but not into this difficulty. So I'm going to stick with what I know, and what works pretty well is going to be, so first of all, I'm going to bring up the card cam and show you one of the 2 cards I'm going to play. It's going to be Shape the Self Anew here, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to have a sip of water and take a moment to discuss my drink of choice for the evening, which is sitting off to the side here in a ice bucket. I've really treated myself this evening for my celebration fancy game. I have myself a beer, which I certainly wouldn't say I consider as a particularly good beer, but it's certainly a very thematic beer, and that is, of course, Staropramen. So a Staropramen for the star himself, or the star itself. I felt that was pretty thematic, to say the very least. Not sure. It's been a long time since I drank the beer. I'm not sure how much I'm going to totally enjoy it, but it was on special in the supermarket, and it's massive. If nothing else, it's something like 600 and whatever, 60 milliliters. So it's a big beer. The big old boy, and if I have my way in this game, we'll probably have a big old Starlight drafting mages along the way, so we can really have some fun here. So, oh yeah, that's a dank lager smell, Czech lager smell. Let's get a bit of that into you there. It's kind of European lagers. I used to drink a lot of them years ago, but once I started to get into kind of ales and pale ales and things like that, I stopped drinking as much of these. But we have a little ice bucket for that sitting off to the side, keeping that nice and cool for us. And for now we can... Oh yeah, that's not too bad. Oh yeah, we can work with that. Oh, we can work with that. No problem. Been a great number of years. Probably the last time I was in Prague itself was the last time I drank that. God knows how many years ago. 15, 20 odd years ago, but that is not bad. Okay, so first of all, shape yourself anew. Let's talk about this one. This is a one and done. We'll get it out in the first turn. It's very, very quick, very easy. It's going to gain us a minor power. We're going to forget it. We're going to gain 3 energy. It's quite straightforward. That's going to be one of the cards we're playing, and we're going to pair that with Boon of Reimagining. So this is the standard Starlight opening. Is going to be it's going to be add a presence at range 0, which is going to come off this track here. That's going to go in there. Now I've got my little tokens over here, so I'm going to immediately cover up Reclaim Half, and I'm going to open up the track bonus here that says gain a power card and move a presence. There's 2 schools of thought around how to go about doing this. Some people like to gain a major on turn 1, and then it sort of it gives them a direction for how to take the game when they're taking their minors off the Boon of Reimagining. So we're going to play Boon of Reimagining here, and we're going to resolve it in the slow phase, and it's going to gain us a bunch of cards. Some people like to start by gaining the major first, and then use the major to drive the direction for the Boon of Reimagining. It's not a bad sort of direction to take things here. It does generally mean that you usually have to throw away I think Piece of the Nighttime Sky. No, you throw away the Gather here. You're more likely to throw away your Piece of the Nighttime Sky by doing this, and given that we're playing such a high difficulty game here, I'm not so sure I want to be doing that straight off the bat. Like, we could go ahead and hit Wetlands on the next card, and I would be really happy that I kept the Piece of the Nighttime Sky. So I think for now I'm going to start with a minor. I'm not going to do that major first. I'll go major second, and I'll start with the minor first. So we'll take the Boon back. That's going to be played and shape yourself anew. So they're the 2 cards we're going to play here. So we're going to start. We're going to gain a power card, and we are, as I say, going to gain a minor power. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is going to look like... Hey everybody, sorry to come in here interrupting so early. The game you were about to watch ended up, in short, an absolute train wreck. I got completely destroyed by the first 2 events that landed, and while I considered keeping that in to show you just how badly I got wrecked, it ends up being about an hour, maybe even an hour and a half of a game, and in the end I just decide that it's early enough in the evening that I'm going to scrap that game, and I'm going to start again, which was when I was recording the other day. So I'm now going through and doing editing, and I've made the decision to leave that footage out just for the sake of the length of the video. I do replay the game, which I'm about to pass you over to, so you are going to get to see a proper game that doesn't get completely and utterly ruined by 2 early events. But wanted to let you know, as you cut over, I'll probably make a couple of maybe references, I can't exactly remember, on the exactly how much I referred to the other game. At the time I was planning on keeping both in, but as it happened I didn't. So just got completely and utterly destroyed, and wanted to give you a more interesting game. So hopefully that's what you're about to see. Enjoy the show. Okay, welcome back, everybody. That was a lot quicker for you than it was for me. Setting this thing up takes ages. But we're back. It is what time now? It's 4 minutes past 10 p.m. In the evening. Definitely don't enjoy starting games this late, especially on the far end of it, and especially against really hard games like this. But I couldn't let that one go. Can't remember if I mentioned at the start of the video. I'm actually on vacation next week, which is another big reason why I wanted to do this kind of in the middle, skip the adversary stuff and kind of mix it up a bit. So I really want to get this recorded so that when I get back from vacation next week, I have something almost ready to go. But anyway, enough of all of that. Let's restart the game and hope for a little bit of better luck this time around. We're starting again with the same opening. I've gone ahead and I've gone at a presence at range 0. I've unlocked this track. I've given myself an extra energy up here, and I'm about to resolve my card gain. I think I'm going to go again with a minor power this time. I think volume of cards is going to be important here, and volume of elements on cards is going to be more important necessarily than actually hitting the perfect major alignment. So I think I'm gonna go ahead with the same opening I did last time. So we're I haven't done the opening explorer yet, so it's not going to make any difference. But I need to first accelerate the deck. So this time we hit the awful mountains that we hit last time. So that's gone. But now we're going to explore, and we're going to hit, of course, the wetland. It hits the reverse. So again, if you're doubting me in terms of how well I shuffled, clearly here you have no reason to doubt this. But we do get the benefit that I talked about last time. So actually, that's a triple coastal land that doesn't hit towns because it's the opening explorer, which is at least something. So that's fine. So that's going to go there, and that's going to go there. So all of that gets done. We set up all right, yeah, with the extra town in land 6. We hadn't earned the fear card, so I didn't need to touch the fear deck, and of course we accelerated the thing for elemental invocation. So now we can go ahead and check. I hit Dark and Tangled Woods, which isn't going to help in those wetlands. Lure of the Unknown, Uncanny Melting, and Call to Tend. Lure of the Unknown here stands out as a quad element card that can stop a build over there right now. So I really like Lure of the Unknown. That stops a build, but sorry, this stops the build, but Lure of the Unknown, in theory I could play it on the first turn to stop this build. Which I kind of like, in truth. Starlight does have this very templated opening here, but if I can Lure the Unknown and stop that build, it stops all those lands from potentially exploring. Because if I build there first, then I give it a source of invaders to all of them. Whereas now I'm going to build in here, it's going to give a source to this, and this, but I'll have no sources to these two. So I get a free pocket by playing this on the first turn. I never do this. I never go away from the shape and Boona Reimagining opening play. But given the texture and the nature of this game, I might need to do that. So Lure the Unknown, anyway, let's go ahead and throw it in the card cam real quick. Throw them away. This is the card I'm taking. It's going to give me access to a gather. And as I say, a gather, to gather him out of there is probably pretty good. It's definitely going to build a town anyway, so there's nothing we can do about that. So we will have as I say, the adjacency or the source for these two lands, but I just think it's too enticing to shut these off. So I think I'm going to do it. So it's going to be 1 and 0. Play the Boona Reimagining again to get me 6 cards. which is better than the shape itself anew. But now I won't have, of course, the energy for the shape from the shape itself anew. But that's okay, I guess. So okay, let's go ahead and do this. Very strange for me to be opening this way with Starlight. I'm a bit thrown off in all honesty, but we'll go ahead and try this. So we're going to gather at range 2 into this land, and we're going to gather him out of there. So that's fine. We still are going to have this innate, and then we're going to flip an event, which doesn't matter. Cities rise. So that one's not going to be carried out, of course, on the first turn. And let's go ahead then and do the invader step. So build, no, build, no, build over here, yes, and then build over there, yes. And let's see how wrecked we get by this card. It's going to be Sands. Typical. So we didn't in the end get the benefit from the from the thing, and in fact we just put an extra invader into that land, of course, which is also not great, but sure, that's the way unfortunately it goes. So Scotland is going to escalate on this board, and it's going to go into, I guess, this land in the middle, and then we're going to explore. So Sands is going to at least have no coastal explorers. It's going to go explore, and actually technically this doesn't have a source, so it won't explore. Explorers are not a source, so there's no source for this, so that's not going to explore. This one will, and this one will, but that's nice. The fact that this doesn't have a source is nice, because we can gather that explorer out of there to solve that build, which is pretty good. Okay, so that's that. So we did the escalation, we did the explore. Now we'll go ahead and go to the slow phase. So slow phase, we will use, well, actually in this case we don't have to do this in the other order. So last time out I had to do this first because I was going to forget shape, but now shape is in my hand, so I don't have to do it that way. So I'm going to boon a reimagining, and I'm going to get again the gather the scattered light, the bad card that we have, throw it away, and gain look at 6 minors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see if we can find anything really nice this time. So we're going to look at drift down into slumber. Could be nice for a defend in Sands. That could be good option. Scream disease into the wind, absorb corruption, mesmerize tranquility, which isolating in Scotland can be pretty good. Sear anger into the wildlands, and strong and constant current. So we haven't hit any windmill slams here. Drift down into slumber is a pretty good one, as I say. That can defend, for example, up in there when that builds. So having access to that defend is probably going to be a good way to start. It's not going to help us obviously defend the coastal attacks from Scotland on this turn, but strong and constant currents could help us do that. So that's a way to solve one of these ravages here. And if we pair that with another earth element, we could set up for a defend as well, which looks pretty good to me. So I think strong and constant currents and drift down into slumber are going to be our 2 options. Not very well elementally aligned, apart from the earth, but absorb corruption is no. Scream disease, no. Mesmerize tranquility, as I say, is pretty good. So that's the other option here. Let's just go ahead and have a little quick look. So we'll have a quick look at the cards we're talking about here. Drift down into slumber. It's just a defend. And as I say, defend for the Sands. So it won't be for next turn, but the following turn it's going to be probably pretty good. Strong and constant currents is the other card we're looking at here. And that could, if I can get a presence into, for example, that land there, I can push the town out and stop that coastal blight. So that's a solution to one of my ravages next turn. Should I be able to get the presence in there. And then, oh, actually, yeah, sorry, I didn't move this over. I forgot to move my presence as part of the growth phase. That's exactly what I did on the previous turn to get across, as I say, to get myself across the map. So I would have done the exact same thing here, and that will let me push 1 in there next turn. I forgot. So the first thing you do is add the presence at range 0, then you do the gain of power and move a presence. So I just forgot to do that. So that would be there. And then that would allow me push in with the strong constant currents, which would be pretty good. Mesmerized Tranquility would actually do the same thing. If I get into the land, I would be able to isolate it and deal. Each invader deals -1 damage. Would in theory do the same end result, but I probably prefer the sun element. Mesmerized Tranquility is... I'm just not sure I'm going to have the action economy to be dedicating to isolate right now. I didn't hit multiple suns, and usually sun is better when you find them in multiples, because obviously your 4 sun ability here is very, very tricky to hit. But it's still true that the sun innate or the sun major powers are among the best. So for that reason, I probably do still want to edge towards sun as opposed to animal here. So I think I'll take strong constant current. So they're the two I'll take. They go into my hand, and then I still have access to sidereal guidance here, so I can target, for example, this land here and pull that in there. It seems pretty reasonable to me. Okay, done. Sidereal guidance as well, of course. Just bringing it up here, you can take a look there. The moon and A's gather up to one explorer or the hand. So in the previous game I used it to gather the hand, but in this case I obviously had a good access to stop an explorer building there. So that's what we could do there. So let's go back to our growth phase. So as we said, we probably want to go strong constant currents, and we want to find, if we can, a earth power to give us a defend in here. The move, gain a power, move a presence is going in there, and stopping that is all pretty nice. So we take no blight on the first turn if we can find ourselves an earth element here. We could, of course, do something like go from bottom track, unlock the element, use it as an earth element, and then place what do you call it? An earth token here, and that would still give us access to, over here, not there, and that would give us access in that corner there to a defend of 5 in that land. And that might be how I go about doing this, because I want to get this Shape of Self Anew played and get the 3 energy from that. And now we can go ahead and gain a major and forget Boon or Reimagining, for example. And I wouldn't play the major this turn, of course. However, if I gain a major that I really want to play, I can actually go for the +3 button. Still have access to it. So if I gain a major with Earth or something like that, I could go that way instead of playing the Shape of Self Anew. So I think this is the major button time. Let's go ahead and gain a power and look for a major and see how we're setting up our game here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's look for something good here. We really want good luck, and we need good fortune here. Weave. I just keep finding this card, don't I? Weave. Focus the Land Anguish is not the Sun Major I was looking for. Voice of Command is better. It's Transformative Sacrifice. Okay. So Voice of Command is certainly better. I don't think this is the type of game where I can be faffing around and weave together the fabric of place. Is it? I say that. I see a really good spot for weave together the fabric of place right now, actually. Oh, am I one short? I think I'm one short. Hold on. Why do I have no energy? Yeah, I should have an energy here, right? I didn't spend any energy on anything. So turn 1 I played Boon Reimagining and Lure the Unknown. And my 3 growths were gain 1 energy, gain a power card, and add a presence. So that should have cost me 1 energy, and I didn't spend an energy on anything. Yeah, I think what happened is I think I actually knocked an energy like this. I had it up there, I think I knocked it there, and then I just put that in there. So I should have 1 energy in my pool. I really hope I haven't made a mess of that in the first turn, but it doesn't make any sense to me why I have no energy right now. So what I'm just looking at, what I can do right now is, if I take Weave, and I weave these 2 lands right now, that's a bit of Ravage down here. If I weave that together, then we attack for 2, 3, 5, 6, and I put a defend of 5 in that land. For the hand counter attack back, kill all of that, and I solve my Ravaging land as well as my building land. Isn't that true? Put shape in my hand, put weave in there, so I have 1. I'm going to be gaining 1. If I do the +3 button this time, that'll give me 4, and then I can spend my final energy to do the earth element on there, and that does the 5, defend a 5. Push you in there with my push 1. I add a presence. I add it from here. I do this. Sorry, other way around this time. And I like, that's 2 different games with 2 different approaches, but I did say before I thought the +3 button was going to be important, and it feels like it very much is the case with Elemental Invocation. So this would give me access to this, and then my final option will be, so it'll be 0, that, and then this to give me 3 energy. And that will give me Weave, Strong Constant Currents, and an Earth Element. These would still be in my hand. I forget the Boon of Reimagining from my discard pile. That's gone. And then this will be this. So I think this is my play. So the alternative for doing that will be take the other really good card, which is Voice. I mean, I know people are probably looking at me here and screaming about Transformative Sacrifice. I get it. You know, I do get it. And I appreciate that I've got a card in my graveyard, Lure the Unknown, which is really, really good at thresholding this. But remove up to 3 presents from the island. Like, I'm only going to have 3 right now. Even if I wait till next turn to go ahead and play this, I'm going to have to remove 3 of my 4 presents from the island. I get a Proliferate, which is really good on Starlight. And then I get to take a Minor Power and play for free. So basically next turn I'll be able to play like 4 free minors. Like, I basically get to just unlock like all of my innates. I just get to like pretty much just max out my innates with this card next turn. But I'll be down to 1 presence on the island, which seems insane to me. I can't be correct, can it? Like, I love the sound of that. It sounds like such a fun turn. But, like, I've got a solid turn mapped out with Weave. And if I don't do what I said, and I take the Transformative Sacrifice and then, like, reclaim the Lure of the Unknown next turn and go that way, I'm like, what am I doing this turn? What I said before, like, play the Piece of the Nighttime Sky and stuff like that. It's just so unexciting. Like, I've got such a safety game right here. Yes, admittedly, I can get edge case because I've only got to defend a 5 versus an attack of 6. But, like, even still, even if I get edge case, I've still got 4 to hand in there. So even if one of them die, I've still enough to attack back. Like, this is such a safe play. And it's so well aligned. It's, like, got good elements. It's another sun element. It's potentially a way to aim towards the sun innate at some point. I just think the Transformative Sacrifice is just too bananas. Like, if this was a lower difficulty game, I'd snap that off and we'd be all in, for sure. But not in this game, not at this difficulty, I don't think so. Voice of Command, as I say, is the other option here, and it is a really good option. If I took it instead of Weave, and I play voice of command. See, the problem is I'm 2 elements short on voice of command now, so I can't threshold that this turn. It would still let me solve this even without a threshold. I could still solve that land. Yeah, I was about to say I think maybe I can threshold, but I don't think I can. If I go top track from here, that gives me 2 energy. I already have 1 in the bank, plus 1. Actually, I can threshold this. If I threshold this, yeah, no. I can't threshold, but thresholding it isn't as good. So I was thinking if I threshold that in here, I can pull those 2 in there. I'm again seeing, can I improve on solving both of these lands? Is this better than weave is what I'm trying to ask here. What I can do is I have a way that I can threshold this. It requires a different setup, and I can explain it in a moment if it's better. But I could do 1 damage per Dahan and explorers to buildings only. So if I threshold that in this land, I pull in those 2 in here. The land would now have 2 Dahan and 2 explorers, and it would have 2 towns. So I would actually be able to kill the 2 towns. So it would solve this. It would be the same solve. It would be the same solve, but it would leave behind the 2 explorers, and the 2 explorers won't ravage in the land because they don't ravage on the side of the invaders. They ravage the other way around. So I'd essentially leave 2 explorers behind. So the question is, do I prefer to build my game around voice of command? Which is a very reasonable question to ask right now. Weave is a situationally very good card, but weave is generally only good when you've got other things to do with it. And weave is really good in this spot right now, but then it's like when I reclaim weave, where am I going from there? It's more expensive. Yes, it's got much better elements, that's for sure. But where am I going? What's my path? Weave. Generally, weave is like you need weave plus like a big hammer. You know, it's really good in multiplayer games where you like weave two massive lands together and you use like a big nuke or something. But for me here, it's like I have to dedicate so much of my energy to weave alone, and then what else am I doing? You know what I mean? Whereas if I go in with the voice of command here, I can start tipping around the island and, you know, dealing actual damage. It's also a sun power, and I can start to again look to try to abuse the sun innate. I think I've talked myself into this. So now let me go ahead and show you what I was talking about with the weave setup here. So, with the voice of command setup. So I explained how weave would have worked. So now let me change my my growth and show you the other way. So it doesn't involve taking the +3. Why? Because I needed an element. Was that why? Yeah, maybe I was wrong. So this is still the same. I'd still add a presence. I think what I was thinking was trying to somehow unlock an element as well as give myself enough energy to pay for the other element. So essentially unlock like that as well as another element. But no, that doesn't work, does it? I don't think it works. So if I take then the 3, do it the same way, essentially. 3, 4, 5. Then I can definitely pay for the element, but I only have one element, and I can't threshold this with just a single element. Okay. And then if I can't threshold this, well then I'm not solving that, and I'm instead leaving behind a town, explorer, and city, which is just a disaster. So I don't really want to do that at all. So let's not do that, and let's take the weave. It might be a one and done. I might replace it, but it's really good in this spot. We saw already how it is really good in this spot. So that's gone. We already forgot the boon of reimagining. So we're doing the growth that I said. So we're going to grow here at range 0 with that. We unlocked this one and we took the +3 button. We've won from there, and we had one left behind, which we're keeping for a moment now. So that's going to be those two, and then obviously we push that one in there with the move of presence. So that's all of that. Hopefully everyone's following along. I'm struggling to follow along myself, in all honesty, but let's see how we go. So strong consequence now. Push a explorer or a town to an adjacent coastal land. You go in there. That's the first bit. I also have the threshold, so I can move up to 2 Dahan between target land and one other coastal land. So I'm going to move you in there, which is going to give me a kill on that explorer, which is quite nice. So up to 2 between target land and one other coastal land. I can do that from any coastal land, so if I wanted, I could pull that from over there. It's anywhere on the island, but in this case, it makes sense for me to just pull it out of there. It's fine. And then now I'm going to weave those two together, as I said before. So this is now this is the third game where I've had weave. I had it in the last game. I just love this card. I told you before, it's an amazing card. It does so many cool, fun things. But this is what we're going to achieve with it now. And that's going to weave those two together. So now this sands, before it gets to build, it's going to be participating in this ravage. And I hope I don't get edge case here. If I do, I'm going to bed, and that's the end of it. The last thing I'm doing, as I said, is paying that 1, and I'm going to place this marker. And I can place it either there or there, but I kind of, as I said before, I like the access to the coast here, so giving me a slightly cheaper and easier defend into that land might be helpful. So let's do that. Yeah, okay. And that gives me, of course, then I have 1 and 2 and now finally 3, and I can defend 5 with the extra or with the air moves, earth endures, and hopefully we don't get edge cased here. My god, it will be really, really upsetting if I do. So that's all of that. I have poured myself a fresh glass of beer, which is super chilled, super cold and chilled. Let me show you. I've got my big jug of water here. You can probably still see the... I'm not going to hold it over my game, but you might be able to see the condensation. So that big glass of icy water there kept my beer cold 2 hours after I opened it. So it's a bit flat. It's not quite as sharp as and fresh as when I opened it, but it's still cold. So let's go ahead and resolve our event then for the turn. It's far off something or other touches the something or other, and I don't remember this one being particularly enjoyable. So far off wars touch the island. I have a choice here, so I can either add a fear card to the top of the fear deck, and then on each board in the land with the most buildings, choose for that board either destroy half of the towns, do 4 fear, destroy half of the cities, and then add 2 blight. Oh, gross. Or blunt defensive, destroy a town but do not gain fear. So basically, okay, so I have to add a fear card to the top of the deck. Is that what we're saying here? So yeah, this one is templated strangely. So defending the island with them might come at too high a price. So add a fear card to the top of the fear deck. On each board, in the land with the most buildings, choose. So yeah, the choice comes on the each board part. So I have to add a fear card to the top of the fear deck. That's awful. Okay, I've already got 7 fear cards in stage 1. Now I've got an 8. This is really starting to feel like a 6-6. This is awful. Okay, and then now on each board in the land with the most buildings. Well, okay, so I actually don't have this on the other side of the board, which is actually kind of bad because I could just destroy a town for free. But this is going to let me 4 fear, destroy half of the towns round up and half of the cities rounded up, That is looking mighty fine in that land too, right? Destroy a town and a city and generate 4 fear. That's 7 fear. But I add 2 blight. Otherwise, I just destroy a town somewhere. Oh, I'm so greedy. And then I have what on each board, add a bad lands to a land with blight, and then I'll have on each board gather 1 or 2 into a land with setup symbols. 1 or 2 into a land with setup symbols. So I won't get wrecked by that, I hope. Yeah, I don't have to get wrecked by that, thankfully. Oh, do I want to take 2 blight to destroy 2 of those big fat buildings in land number 2 and add 2 blight? I think I do. That's so nice. Yeah, I'm getting greedy. Okay, so 4 fear. There we go. Bam, 4 fear. Destroy half of towns and half of cities round up and add 2 blight without cascading. Might be greedy here. This might come back to bite me, but I just cannot turn this down. Look at that, so juicy. So 3 more fear. And that's that 1 fear card they just added. It's just gone. Back. It's grand. No problem. And then on each board, add a Badlands to a land with blight. Oh yeah, 2 free Badlands. This card's amazing. And I'll stick you in the coastal land there. Yes, I will. Thank you very much. And then on each board, gather 1 or 2 into a land with setup symbols. So gathering 1 or 2 into a land with setup symbols, I can do that. So I get that free kill. And then on this side of the board with setup symbols, that doesn't have setup symbols. This one does. I can just take 1 of them out of there and put it in there. I'll still have the 6 required to kill them in the Ravage. So that's all good and gravy. So that one certainly didn't wreck us. That was quite nice. Significantly better than the last game. Let's go ahead and resolve our fear card. Fear card is going to be Flee the pest in the land. Each player removes something from a land with disease. Disease, I have only 1 disease on the board, and unfortunately I don't have those somethings in the land. So I just happened to kill one just a moment ago, so that was a bit of a waste, but that's okay. So let's Ravage now. Dead. Dead. This is much better. Over here, dead. All of you are dead. Yeah. Woven out of the game. 2 more fear. There you go. Now this is a lot better. This is a lot cleaner. This is better. Feeling better about this game. Right, that's the Ravage. Now we go after Ravage. We did say, of course, that this is now coastal. So these 2 lands are coastal, so it won't count this as an inland, and it's not a wetland anyway, so that's fine. These are both coastal. This is coastal, so and this one is not adjacent to any town, so we won't get the Scotland 6 in there. So this is beautiful things happening here. This is really beautiful. So now we're going to go ahead and build. We'll build over here, and we have a defend for that next turn already lined up. We'll go ahead and we'll build here, and then in this land we will build because it's adjacent to a city. And this land is all part of the same land, so it is adjacent to this city. So that's 1 single land adjacent to that, and it is of the land type sands and wetlands. So we will actually build in there, but I'll be able to pull it out. Hopefully this land isn't another wetland. So it's a 50-50 shot, I guess, isn't it? No, it could be. No, it's a 1 in 3. Okay, so anyway, that build. So the 3 of them build. That's fine. Don't hit wetland. It is wetland. Okay. Okay, well that's not ideal, but it's okay. So we'll first of all we'll do the escalation on this board, and we have to do it in a land without any towns, or with the fewest towns, should I say? So up there looks like a mighty fine option. Now we'll go ahead and explore. We do now have a source for that. Hitting wetlands here again is nasty. They really just had to get us, didn't it? The game had to take it back. It was just looking so good for a minute or 2 there, and they just really had to take it away. So we'll go over here, explore into those lands, and then we'll move these along. And at the end of this turn now, we're going to be able to make a choice on these lands and how we'd like to split all of that stuff. And of course, it is very typical. I didn't even talk about I don't need to defend up on that land, so I placed it here instead. But if I'd have put the marker here, I could have potentially done a defend of 5 in there to clean this stuff up next turn, which is what I'd really like to do here. That's unfortunate. It's like I could keep all of that on the coast. I could let all of that stay together, you know what I mean? At the end of the turn. Keep all of that in there, let it build a city, and then just try to defend it later. 3, 5, 7. So yeah, I'd need multiple cards to be able to defend that. So that's not really ideal. I do in theory have Piece of the Nighttime Sky in here. If I could maybe move something in here, I could piece once and just do a skip or ravage into both of those lands, which could be helpful. Could push all of this up in there and then try to defend in there one time, and then, you know, mitigate the problem on the coast. It would build a town because of this city, and that's okay, but again, it's a lot easier to defend that on the coast. So that's something. I also have, of course, that stage 3 card coming, which is almost certainly going to hit a wetlands and just kick me out of this game for once and for all. Send me to bed. So I don't have any slow powers here, so it is, of course, just this decision remaining. As I say, I do have a Drift Down into Slumber available for next turn. I would have liked to have targeted it up there. If I reclaim Strong and Constant Currents with my Reclaim 1 next turn, play it together with the Drift Down into Slumber, that gives me 2 Earth Elements, and then if I unlock an Earth Element on my track, that can give me a defend of 4 in one land, and it can give me a defend of 5 in the other land, which gives me a solve and a solve, for example, which has probably got to be what I gotta do. Lets me push that out of there and kind of, you know, clean that up just a little bit again. I would take a single blight in here, but that's okay. I think it's probably what I've got to do here. And then maybe, as I say, Piece of the Nighttime Sky or something on the following turn. And these 2 lands, maybe something like that. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So let's push town and town in here. 2 Dahan go in there as well. Do I want to put the 3rd in there with it? I mean, I don't think so, because I want to probably keep that in there to defend the town the following turn. So let's just split that like that. That goes in there, that goes in there. That's the weave resolved. And these go in the discard pile. So we go back, we go back. I'm giving up on the 3 energy button this turn, which is not ideal, but I think I have to. So I think it'll be, this turn will be add a presence, probably from the bottom track here to unlock that element we talked about, gain a power, and reclaim 1. I suppose if I hit a card, yeah, no, gain of power is better, because gain of power might give me everything. I was going to say I could reclaim 1 and then also +3 button, but I don't need a +3 button. If I'm playing Drift Down plus Strong and Constant Currents, I don't need a +3 button this turn. I could hit, or yeah, rather than reclaiming, I could hit a perfect 9er, and then I won't need to reclaim 1. So we're definitely playing this turn. I'm going to go ahead and look for a minor power here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I guess that's better than looking for a major here, isn't it? Because if I go major and I find something for 3 or 4 energy, I might want to play it. And if I miss, or if I find something for next turn, I can just reclaim the strong and constant currents. This might be a major button here. Look for something like Vigor the Breaking Dawn to start turning the screw a little bit here, because as I said, Weave is unlikely to be the card that wins me the game. It was really good there, but I'm probably not going to be able to rely on that. So I think I might actually look for a major, because I've got a good plan anyway with my strong and constant currents as my backup plan. Yeah, I'm looking for a major button. We love majors. It's what we're here to do. Alright, major, let's go. So major power. So we're starting with major power, obviously, before we reclaim one. That's clear. First thing we're doing is hitting the major power button. Vengeance of the deck. God damn it. Smothering Infestation. Paralyzing Fright. Now that's looking mighty fine. Infestation and Venomous Fighters. Well, Paralyzing Fright is looking like the absolute stone nuts here, isn't it? Let's go ahead and take that one. Absolutely beautiful. That's going to get me to start careering through the deck. Infestation is a very good card as well, but it's most certainly not better than Paralyzing Fright. So let's take Paralyzing Fright. We will forget a card at this point. Lure of the Unknown isn't looking like it's going to do it for us necessarily here, so I think we can probably forget that one. The only thing is, am I ever actually taking Weave back in this game? Am I ever going to Weave in this game when I have Paralyzing Fright right there? I don't think so, because Fright is my sort of durdle around, kind of, you know, stop some stuff but not really get ahead in the game, and then I may need to go and look for a hammer, and I won't be able to be afforded to be faffing around with Fright and Weave. So I actually think this is the spot to throw away Weave and thank it very kindly for its part that it played in the game. So Paralyzing Fright this turn. So then this time now I will be looking to go add a presence and gain 3 energy instead. So with 3 energy button, where do we add a presence from is the question. I probably do want to just go from that bottom track and take the earth element that I said, and that'll obviously give me my my thresholded Fright as well as my defend 5. So let's do that. Seems pretty clear. So it turns out that placing that earth element over there is unlikely to matter again for the rest of the game now that we have that second one placed or now that we have one on the track, but that's also fine. So we've got 3 from there, 1 from here. That's 4 and 0. We've placed everything that we needed. Where's my presence? Where did I place a presence? Did I put the presence in there? No, because I needed a Sacred Site to do that last turn. That's here, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry, that's that. My presence is from here. So I have to move a presence at 1 first and then place a presence for the Paralyzing Fright. So where am I frighting is the question. I could just fright in there and stop a single blight, which is probably not terrible, even though we still have 3 on the card right now. But where else am I frighting? I could stop that building, which isn't too bad. I could. I'm not pushing this out anymore because I don't have the strong constant currents. I'm going to gain 1 plus 5, so I'm going to gain 2 fear cards here. So 2 fear cards could give me a shot at defending that. The thing is, if I'm skipping one of these builds, I'm not actually even solving the land, which I don't love, because I'm going to then have to go ahead and do something with the land the following turn as well, which is just one of them things. Still, stopping a city here has got to be pretty good. Can't actually get over there to stop that one because I can only move 1. Oh yeah, no, that can move in there. Sorry, yeah, I can move in there and stop this city build. which is probably not bad. I do have peace, which I can use maybe next turn to stop 2 ravages. You said that already. That's pretty good. So that might be that might be decent. So okay, well let's stop a city build one way or another. The other thing is, if I have a defend next turn, defending in here with a ravage could be really, really good. Whereas defending this with only 1 to hand is probably not great. So I think I'll probably stop that build. Let that one build, and then maybe I just stop those 2 ravages or something like that. So that's it. So move that one there, and then my place of presence at range 0 goes in there. So I have 2 sacred sites on the board now, and that's okay. I will of course have my defend 5 in here, and I'll have my defend 4 as well. So let's go ahead and resolve our spells then. Or our cards. So defend 4 will go into the land with attack for 3. That's at range 2, and then the defend 5 goes in here. We're optimizing those, of course, and then we have 8 fear and skip all actions in this land. So 8 fear will be a fear card, which is 5 fear, and then I have 3 more, so 1 down, and then 2 more. So I've got 2 fear cards in the bank, and 3 fear away from the next card. So Paralyzing Fright, obviously needs to say, is the absolute stones. The stone and nutter butters. So that one is fine. That one is fine. We've done everything we needed there. I didn't even put Paralyzing Fright in the thing. I presume everybody knows Paralyzing Fright at this point. Absolutely nuts card. I had someone on Discord trying to argue to me the other day that this is an A tier card, not an S tier card. I'm not having one single word of it ever. This card is broken, and I don't care how many players are playing the game. If it's 1 or 6, this is an S tier, and it's like top 3 cards in the game. I appreciate that in 5-6 player games, that the 8 fear is a little bit less insane, because when you get 8 fear in true solo, if you don't have any extra fear in the pool, it's usually 2 fear cards, which is just absolutely bananas. But anyway, I digress. Let's keep on going. It's event time. Yeah, we did everything else. Yeah, we resolved everything else. Let's go and see how hard and badly we get slapped by the event. So Healthy Island, we're still healthy. It's on each board, adds an explorer and a town to a land with a town or a blight. On each board. Okay. This is not ideal news. I would love to be placing them in with that Badlands, but that's clearly not going to be happening. So it's either with a town or a blight, and it wants to add an explorer and a town. So if I defended 5 in there, that could have worked, but I can't place them there now. I can just go, oh no, with a town. Ugh, my choices are not really ideal here, are they? What else does this card do? It destroys 2 among beasts, and then each spirit with thing among its lands gains an energy and reclaims a card. Oh, I got wrecked. Oh, I got so wrecked. I only have 2. I don't have 3. That's such a pity. Okay, so where am I doing this? So in a land with blight, so I can put them in there, I think, because the Badlands is in that land. So that can go in there. And the only problem is, that's going to explore. That's a 50-50 shot to explore, and it's just going to wreck me. Every land is a 50-50 to explore right now, but putting it in the coast is probably not a good idea, so no, that can't be correct. So I just don't have damage. I've got Paralyzing Fright, which isn't a damaging card. So I think maybe in there. Because it's with the hand at the very least. So that's that. And then on the other board, I have to do it as well. This is a tough one. The focus farming. This one sucks. You had two different things. On a Healthy Island, you had 2 things. And usually it's lands that are problems. So I can either go on the coast, where it's already awful, and we know that. It's in here, which is just not an option, because that's just going to wreck us with the thing. Now, of course, I could get fear carded, and if I got a defend in the land, it would be amazing. So that would be lovely. But if I don't hit a fear card, I'm going to attack for 6 versus a defend of 4. It's going to place a blight and then I'm only going to get to kill one town. Whereas this way, I'm killing a town and an explorer. So actually, it's not that much worse. Yes, I take a blight, but if I put these here and one of those fear cards hits, defend 1, Dahan pings for 1, gather a town, or gather a Dahan into the land. There's a bunch of things that really, really solve me there, or just like remove an explorer from an inland land. There's a whole bunch of fear effects that really solve that problem for me, and it's way better if that happens. So I'm actually going to take that decision. That's the choice I'm going to make there. I'm going to put them there. I did say, of course, that I was paralyzing frighting into this land, because I said I'd let that one go so I could defend it. So I should have, of course, put that there. So let's go ahead and hope to hit on the fear card. And then Explorer's Blunder does nothing. I understand, of course, I could have placed the town and the thing over in the coast here and gotten a single explorer kill, but that doesn't seem like a good choice right now. So again, I want to avoid the coasts. So let's go ahead and place what's our first thing. It's a civil unrest. It's not matching a ravage card, so that's not ideal. So I'm going to add a on each board, add a strife to a building not matching a ravage card. So let's go ahead and go in there and in there. Actually, no. Yeah. I was going to say I could do it in here, but yeah, you know what? Let's do it in there. That's just a solve. If I don't explore wetlands here, that's a solve. Actually, no, that's a solve full stop. Exploring wetlands won't work because I skip all actions in there. So that just solves that land next turn. So that's definitely correct on that play. And then on that board, it's obvious as well. So that's the first one. Can we hit it? We've got one shot. Come on now. Come on, baby. Come on, let's go. What do we got? Push a thing from a land. Yeah, we got it. Flee from the dangerous lands. On each board, push an explorer or a town from a land with Dahan. We got there. So we can push an explorer out of there, and we can push you up in there. It's probably fine. So that's out of that land with a Dahan. And then on the other board, we can do push a thing from a land with Dahan. I could use it to push out of here, but I don't really want to do that. And it's not up to. I do have to execute this instruction. That's a free attack and a kill next turn, assuming I don't get. I won't really get edge case because it's strifed. There are edge cases that say strife doesn't count and they still ravage, ignore strife. So that does happen, but no, I don't want to push him out of there. I'm pushing out of here, and I can just push an explorer out of there. I'll probably just push the explorer into this land here. Okay, so that's that. So we will take a blight in this land, but we knew that anyway, and then the others are solved, which is amazing. So really, really happy how that turned out. So our events are obviously, and our fear cards are obviously coming up trumps. It's going way better this game. So let's go ahead and ravage this time. So we'll ravage over here. It's going to ravage for 5, defender for 4. So those 2 towns get wrecked. Get in the bin, son. And son Ella, which is a little bit of Irish for anybody who's listening at home. A mixture of Irish and English, which doesn't tend to be a great mix historically, but in that sentence it worked at least. So we've got that. We go blight in here. And then up in here, we've got, of course, a defender 5, which will stop those 2 coming in, and that will give us 2 fear. So we hit 1 in the pool, and we'll go 2 up there, and we've got ourselves another fear card. So we're ticking along pretty nicely here. Way better, obviously, than last game. That's our ravage. So let's go ahead then and do the inland stuff, of which we have many. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm not in love with seeing another sands here because we just put a bunch of things in there. I'm not even sure what I want to explore here. Every land looks pretty horrible, so this is going to look really bad either way. So over here now we're going to build a city. We're going to build a town. Yeah, I hadn't appreciated how much worse it was about to get when I did all these buildings. We at least know we're not building in there, and then we're going to build over here because it's adjacent to a city. And we don't have actions available to be stopping those kind of things at this stage in the game. So that's all those builds done, and then we'll go ahead and we will miss on the wetlands back to back at least. So we'll go mountains, jungles this time. On this board we go mountain and then jungle up here. Then on this board we're going to go jungle, which is nasty land, and then all the rest are inland. 1, 2, 3. It's so nice when you're playing in Scotland and then you explore and you're like, oh yeah, look at those 3 out of 4 inland. It's lovely. I don't have to place town. I only have to place town in one single coastal land on the Explorer. It's beautiful. And then like 2 turns later, you're going and you're doing the Ravage effect. You're like, God damn it, 3 towns. It's awful. So yeah. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword, and I go through that plenty in my Scotland analysis episode. If you haven't heard it, I will. I was going to say I'll link it up here, but I don't do that linky stuff in my playthrough things. That's only for the podcast episodes. Don't have time for that kind of stuff. I'm too busy. I'm too busy playing not playing Magic. Jeez, I haven't played that in many years. I'm playing Spirit Island. God, I'm getting slap happy again here, folks. What time we got? 11:01 at night. Okay. That's not a bad hour. We got through a decent hour there, I would say, at a decent pace. Okay, that's everything. We've no slows, no weaves to resolve or any other such things. Let's go ahead. I would have loved that. The event card with the reclaim 1 and gain 1 energy. That would have been sweet as a nut. It's a pity I missed on that. But anyway, okay. So what we have right now, we've got coastal lands coming, which is a disaster, needless to say. We have a solve here already. We obviously need to solve that. Or we'd like to, at least. We have 2 cards in hand that don't do a huge amount for us in terms of elemental alignments, which I don't love. I obviously don't have a reclaim all, of course. I can gain a power. I can play the 2 of these. And I could, for example, reclaim a card. To gain access to my earth. Piece of the nighttime sky right now can just stop. I only need 1 earth element to defend that land, which is really good. I said it wouldn't come up, and then it's almost immediately come up. If I get a single earth element that can defend there, that's already defended, and then I can go peace in them 2 lands. Obviously forgetting this card, the piece of the nighttime sky to do it in 2 lands. I'm not going to be reclaiming it and playing it again, so getting a one shot kind of throw it away right now would be really good. I don't have a 3rd card play here, of course. This shaped itself anew. I never got it out on the first turn, as we said that one time. And in the end, the pocketing play that the pocketing gambit that I took on the first turn never ended up coming to fruition. So I basically lost a card gain and a 3 energy off this card, which is not great. It's funny, this is the only... I talked about it being the 4 threshold on this never coming up ever, and it's like now it's late in the game, I'm looking at it going, I wonder can I use that to gain a major power? But no, I mean I don't. I'm not anywhere near the elemental alignment. This is basically Shadows max an 8. It just doesn't exist. Which coincidentally also has 4 moon. Problem with doing that play with the piece and the shape is, well, I mean, at that point I actually couldn't play the shape because I need I need an earth card. Which I don't have. So we're obviously adding a presence is one of the things we're doing, because you add a presence every time. I'm just wondering, can I paralyzing fright somehow here? But I don't think so. I wonder if I gain a major. Gain a major, add a presence, +3 energy. That doesn't give me a reclaim, and I'd need to hit a major with earth to solve this. And that's starting to get dicey, because I might be forced into taking a terrible major power. It's the high upside play, because I could go like top track 2 +3. That would give me access to like 4 energy. I could play any 4 cost earth card, but there's not going to be that many amazing ones of those just get thrown at me, is there? Look, we don't care about shape here. I'm not married to that at all. Reclaim 1 on paralyzing fright. Problem is, I now don't have the threshold. So sort of reclaim looping that at this exact moment in time isn't particularly enticing if I don't have the threshold on that. It's not as good. If I gain a power first, look for the major that I talked about, go for the high upside play, and I miss, I can at least still reclaim like strong and constant currents or something, just to give me access to that earth card that I talked about that I need to be able to defend that, because I have to defend that. And then if I strong and constant currents, I could push my way into, for example, that land there and push the town out is maybe something I can do. So that's probably not awful. So that's not a bad backup plan. So let's do it. Oh. Problem is, I'm going to start throwing away. Like, I'm not throwing away paralyzing fright, that's for sure. And I kind of want to loop paralyzing fright, but again, I need a way to start dealing damage. There's a lot of plastic on this board. I need a way to start dealing damage. There's a lot of plastic. There's too much plastic on this board. Fright is good, but it's like it's amazing, and I will use it again almost certainly in this game. But I can't just keep delaying the inevitable here. Like, I need to actually start getting some work done. So let's do it. Let's look for a major power. As we said, Starlight is a card, is a spirit that has a big shiny red do not press button that says major power on it, and of course you press it every time. So let's go ahead now. We've got 4 major powers here. So clearly here the first thing I'm doing is doing this. So it's going to be Talons of Lightning. God damn it, go away! I didn't want you. Pyroclastic Flow. That's an earth card that costs a small amount of energy at least. Insatiable Hunger of the Swarm, and draw towards a consuming void. We did some pretty big work with that one against or in the previous playthrough, but I can't imagine that's going to be the correct one here. What does Pyroclastic Flow look like? I mean, it's probably okay. We haven't hit a windmill slam here. we have Pyroclastic Flow, which is that earth thing that I talked about. So it's going to be 2 damage, destroy all explorers, which is unexciting. If the land is jungle or wetland, I'm going to have to add blight, which again, I don't love that. And then if I have the threshold, I can do +4 damage. The threshold may be somewhat achievable with the rest of my cards. You know, like I've got Paralyzing Fright and Drift Down into Slumber, which at least gives me... Yeah, well, actually, no. I already have the earth on my track. So what I would need at that point is a air fire card. It's decent. It's a decent card. It's not an amazing card. It's a decent card. When you can hit the threshold, and it is pretty manageable. The threshold is fairly good, but it's not like super exciting. Talons of Lightning. Talons of Lightning is at least a card that can start slapping people. And when I talked about my my situation of I can at least take a card if I miss, put it in my hand, and then reclaim the strong constant currents. If I do that this turn, and then try to Talons of Lightning next turn, where does that get me? So this turn I would go gain a power, which would be one of these, maybe the Talons, add a presence, and then reclaim. I'd only gain 1 energy. But if I add a presence from the top track, I gain 2. That was what I was thinking about doing. Because this is now going to be a 6-cost card, and this does a lot of work. This deals a lot of damage, and it kills a lot of stuff. So I'm wondering whether I can make this my hammer. It's not the best card, but it's not the worst. I think it gets a bit of a bad rap. I think it's better than people give it credit for. So I'm just wondering here, because I've got that mountain in the middle of the board. It's about to build a city. Dealing 5 damage into there and stuff could be not bad. Could be not bad, but it could be not great either. What's Draw Towards a Consuming Void do for me here? I just can't play this at all. There's no way I can play Draw Towards a Consuming Void. Like next turn, just play that on its own. Let the whole board go to hell, and then just draw. Can that possibly be good? So it'll be basically draw into this land, I think. That's only got 4 adjacencies. Maybe like this land, that's adjacent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 lands. So we just like draw like twice. So it'll be like Ravage this turn. My Ravage is safe enough, but then the build will happen and I just have to let everything through next turn by just playing this and then just waiting. And it'll be like blight, 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 blight. It's just blight. It's just a million blight. I can't do that. That's madness. What does Pyroclastic Flow actually do for me is the question. It's between that and the Talons. The Insatiable Hunger isn't it for me here. It's okay, but if I can't threshold that, I'm not in love with the card anyway. I think that card is maybe overrated, but let's have a look for Pyroclastic Flow here. Like, sure, it can, like, what, like, stop that. Solve the build up there. I can't even, actually no, because it's range 1 from a mountain, so I can't even stop that. So it'd be just deal 2 damage and destroy an explorer in there. It's just dreadful, like it just doesn't do anything. Hold on a second. Did I just forgot to explore over here, didn't I? Yeah, we did the build in the wetlands, and then I did explore explore in the jungle. So I explored into that jungle and explored in there for sure. But why wouldn't I be explored in there? Was there anything stopping me exploring in there? There was no wilds. There was no like skipping action or anything like that. So no, I think I just forgot to explore into mountains on this board, because there's two lands that are both missing, conspicuously missing things that should have been explored. So that should be like that, which is obviously just way worse. Just far worse for me, because now we're about to build city. Yeah, we're nearly about to be lost condition. We're about to be 4 out of 5. But yeah, you know, what can you do about that, right? Scotland lost condition obviously starts to come up once you start putting it into these kind of situations. Okay. Yeah, we're talking about pretty big trouble in Little China here. Talons of Lightning, I can't get it done this turn. I can only... Yeah. No, that's no good. Oh, God. This is rough, alright. Instead of skipping this land, I think I just have to try let that ravage and just hope for the best. Maybe Pyroclastic Flow in there. Kill that. Defend this. Can I even do that? If I place the yeah, so let's come back here. Let's take the Pyroclastic Flow. So these 3 are gone. And I have to forget a card. Taking the Pyroclastic Flow. And I'm going to want to hit the 3 energy button. So it's going to be this, add a presence, and 3 energy button. So that's going to be to pay for the flow. Do we want to play a piece of the Nighttime Sky this turn? I don't think we do. I think we can get away with not playing that this turn. Play the Shape the Self anew instead. And then so we're going to want to place a, with this 1 energy, we're going to want to place another one of these markers over on this side of the board, and we're going to want to defend this land. So place it in, for example, here. So that's going to be with that. The 3 is going to go here. We haven't chosen yet where we're moving our presence, and we haven't forgotten this to this. Haven't forgotten to this card either. I don't want to forget the Lure of the Unknown, because it's my only way to threshold this right now. So it's between basically Strong Constant Currents and Drift Down into Slumber, and Drift Down can be used to threshold Paralyzing Fright. So it's got to be Strong Constant Currents. Thank you for your help, but you're gone. The piece of the Nighttime Sky I'm almost certainly going to need because of this mess on the board, so I'm going to need that. So that's in my hand. So these are my 2 cards right now that we're going to be playing. And then I haven't chosen where I'm gaining a presence from yet. Now the question is, do I need to rush for the reclaim button? So this will give me a card. And then the following turn I can have basically Peace plus the card off Shape plus either gain or reclaim. So I don't need to rush for the reclaim just yet, I don't believe. But I'd like to probably get into a reclaim loop with Paralyzing Fright and Pyroclastic Flow, which will probably require me to go on the top track. I'd like to get to 3 plays as well, to be able to mix Lure of the Unknown into that as well, if I can. But Lure of the Unknown is just a terrible card. which is the problem. I'd like to find a better card than Lure of the Unknown to be able to threshold the Pyroclastic Flow, but the point remains, I'd like to be going bottom track. So, reclaim cards. I won't need it next turn, but if I feel like I need it the following turn, I can always grow on this next turn and grow there the following turn. So yeah, you've always got the backup plan where if you panic, you can do it 1 and then 2 and then reclaim. So I'm not doing that this turn. So the question is, am I going top track or bottom track? Bottom track gives me an element right now, but I don't need an element right now. I'm definitely not taking another earth. I've got plenty of earth. I could take the fire to be able to threshold Pyroclastic Flow, but that's also awful. I don't really want to do that either. So I don't really want to dedicate my element on the bottom track to something that I'm just not going to use. I'm just not going to use it. So I think I'm going to save that element, and I'm going to go top track. I'm going to need this energy, I believe. So I'm going to go on the energy track this time, which is going to give me access to 2 energy. So I already took 1. And put it over there, but I'm gonna take this and put that into my pool here, because I had none coming into the turn. So that's going to be in the pool. That one is going to pay for that over there, and I have to place a presence and potentially move one as well. So at range 1 from a thing is over here. It's going to have to go in there, and then that can go in there for a sacred site, something like that. Yeah. Seems fine to me. Okay, this is it. This is the play. I'm not in love with my position here. It was looking fine for 5 minutes, and then not even 5 minutes. It was looking fine for about 3 minutes, and then it fell apart. But that's okay. Let's have a sip of beer. And let's get this moving. So we're paying 1 to put that in there. And that is where we want to put it. We need to put it in this land. So it's going to be, well, actually, if we're killing this, no, we want to put it in there, don't we? Because we're going to want to defend that card and that land next turn. So yeah, in there is better. So, because we're trying to kill this right now and then hope that it doesn't adjacency build because this died in the Ravage. So that's the plan. I know it will obviously explore, but you know, there's only so much we can do. So that's that. Although I have drift down into slumber potentially for this land. Well, no, because it'll have a city, won't it? So that'll be ravaging for 6 plus the it's going to explore as well. So it's going to ravage for 1 million. So actually, even ravaging, defending for 5 isn't enough in there. But anyway. I might need to defend 5 plus the 4 from drift down into slumber, but again, it is what it is. Okay, so that's all of that. We can hope to maybe event spike a beast attack in that one, so that should be okay. So we moved in there. Now we're going to go ahead and resolve the thing. So we spent the 1, we put that in there because we're in this land and it's not adjacent to any other element markers. We're going to go ahead and deal 2 damage to you. He's dead, and that's another fear. And nothing else happens. Destroy all explorers. There were none of them in there. Shape is slow. My defend a 5 then, because I have an earth, and then this is an earth over here, so I can target into there with earth moves, or air moves, earth endures, and I can put a defend a 5 in that land. No, not in that land. What am I talking about? I'm putting a defend a 5 in this land, and I'm hoping that my fear card solves me on that land. That was the decision I was making. I never vocalized that. Sorry, I made that decision in my mind at some point, and then I never vocalized it. So I'm going to try to get lucky on that one. Because yeah, well, it is what it is. So all of that is done. We're going to move to the events. I'm starting to fall enough behind in the game where I need to start making some plays like this, and it's not ideal because I only have 1 fear card, but something could, in theory, at least an event, give me some fear and maybe give me another fear. But I've got, obviously, you know, defend of 1 from a hand will be good in here, or defend 1 in all lands, defend in the coast. There's a bunch of stuff that could, in theory, do it. So let's see. So let's go for our event. And our event is going to be... It's numinous crisis. Okay, well, this one had to come up on the channel at some point, I guess. So this is a funny event. I only have 2 blight on the card, so this is not really ideal. So basically what this one does is it gives me a choice. I can draw strength from the weakening island. So I can remove blight from the card, remove all the blight from the card, flip it, and then gain 3 energy per blight that gets removed. So that could give me 6 energy basically, which would be quite nice. The other thing I can do is either pay 3 energy, forget 2 power cards, or return stuff to my tracks and add blight per spirit to the blight card, which I'm just not doing because that is way too sore to forget 2 power cards. Any of these effects is awful. I can't afford to do pay 3 energy or forget 2 power cards or return stuff to my tracks. I just can't do any of that. Returning stuff to my tracks right now, it's just going to set me so far behind, and I just can't afford to be behind in a game where I'm already falling behind. So I appreciate the flipping the blight card here is not great. I would much rather flip like 4 of these blight off and get loads of energy, but given that getting access to 6 energy is pretty strong here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. By the way, also spy the bottom of the card. The careful defense is going to give me defender 2 over in here, which is really good. So yeah, we're good to go. So I'm gonna flip the blight card. I'm gonna remove these 2 blight. I'm gonna put them back in the box. Yeah, you just remove them. Yeah, and then I'm going to because this is just to me. I don't split it among spirits. I get 6 energy, which is just amazing. So that's gonna go really long way to helping me here, of course. But I am gonna flip the blight card. What is it? It's a still healthy island card. So it is. Let's just put it on top right now because I have to do this first. It's thriving crops. Immediately on each board, building 3 lands. Jesus Christ. Okay. And if I pick empty lands, it will build a town. So this is nasty. This is super nasty. Okay, well, I mean, on this board, on this side of the board, it's kind of obvious. 2 of my lands are obvious because they're not being touched by any of the current lands. So actually on both boards I have the same situation. So on both boards I can build into my sands, which look terrible, and it builds a whole ton of cities, but at least it's not a land that's taking action right now. So that's all of that. Then after that I have to choose 1 more land on each board to build in. And they are going to be relevant lands now. So I can't build, obviously, in either of these wetlands. I have a defender 5 in here. Technically, I can build in that land and safely in terms of the ravage. But what happens then? I just basically kill 2 towns and the city stays behind. Whereas now I'm going to kill the city and a town stays behind. So it does do more efficient damage with my Dahan. But then I'm just going to... it's pretty awful. Let's just take this away for a moment. I'll put that over there and have a look. It's 2 blight per player, and at least the island stays healthy for now. I get 2 blight per player. And this is per player, not per board, because I'm doing an extra island board. That doesn't help me, so it's 2 blight per player. But the rest of this card then, so 1 fear per board with disease, which is only 1. And then 2 damage to the hand in a land with disease, so that's not going to be relevant. So I'm going to get a single fear off that. Just really don't enjoy this at all. I think I am going to just go down into this land here. I hate the look of it, but it makes my offense slightly more efficient because it gets to actually kill 2 buildings with the 4 points of damage instead of 1 building with 3 points of damage. So for that reason alone, I think I'll do it there. And then on this side of the board, Might just let this thing go to hell up in the corner. It's about to build. I'm not going to stop it or do anything about it. It's got no Dahan or anything to protect, so I'll just let that go to hell. So I'll build up there, and then I'll build again, and I'll have to worry about it later. I've got Pyroclastic Flow that can potentially come back and do something in there. So they're my 3 lands on each board, which is just awful, but at least the island is still healthy, right? For now? Question mark. So yeah, Numinous Crisis is finished resolving. We gained the 1 fear, and then when Invaders Ravage, we will get this solved over here. So that's definitely something. And then we have a single fear card. And if I could push it to hand, one fear card to push it to hand would be really, really nice right now. Which is, no, it's not. Actually, this does solve a single blight for me if I want it. It's Discord. Each player adds one strife in a different land with at least 2 invaders. So I can solve a blight with that. Put you in there. That's going to stop a blight in there. And then a different land with at least 2 invaders will probably be that land there. I really don't want that to ravage on me, and it's about to build and then explore with a town. So the land has gone to hell already. I might need to just Paralyzing Fright that land. So maybe that's not the right place to put that. If I strife in there and then I build a city, I can defend a 5 in that land and solve it with my defend a 5 in 8. So that's probably much better. Okay, so that's done in there. Yeah, good. So that's my yet another Terror level 1 card. So I'm 1 away from the next one. So let's go ahead and Ravage. So Ravage, we remove this strife. Ravage over here, we said we kill 2 towns, which gets me to my next card. We're still miles away. Still have 3 Terror level 1 cards. Jesus Christ. Over here we kill him. That's another one. And then over here we kill him. That's another one. Okay. So that Ravage went pretty well, at least. Then after the Ravage, we only have 1 inland town because 3 of the rest are coastal, which isn't too bad news. And then we go build, and then we build all sorts of awful things, of course. So we go build, adjacency build. Oh yeah, that was one reason why we were trying to Ravage to get rid of the city. But as it happened, we also ended up with a city next door, so I couldn't have prevented that adjacency build anyway. And then down here, build in there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on this side of the thing, we go. Well, we stop that build at least. We will build a city in here that we talked about. We build a town up there that we talked about. And then we build a city here. God, no, this is just awful. This is absolutely awful. This is every bit the 15 points of difficulty that I talked about, if not more. This is absurdly difficult. But that's okay. We're just not. We haven't quite. It hasn't quite come together. Yes, Paralyzing Fright was an amazing draw, but as I said, it's not clearing plastic. The way you get things done with Starlight is when you find the likes of Vigor, the Breaking Dawn, Indomitable Claim, some of those really strong major Sun cards where you lean into that Sun and 8, and when you get the kind of combo of the Sun and 8 reclaiming them and all that sort of stuff, it's amazing. But it just hasn't quite come together for us. But we will continue on. So that was the build. Now we'll explore on the coast, which is all sorts of bad news again. So on this side of the board, we can. What can we do on this side of the board? Ay. Now that I've gained 1,000,000 energy, I'm going to be looking for a major on my next draw. For sure. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can get like 12 energy next turn, so I could like go major, add a presence, and even reclaim 1. So instead of 12, go 9, but reclaim like Paralyzing Fright or something like that. So how does that factor into this at all? I might just try to get lucky with that beast in that corner there, and if I do that, try to get lucky stuff, then I could go explore both of these. Problem is, that's a horrible land, that jungle. But placing an explorer in there instead of a town doesn't meaningfully change anything, because it would still be 3, 5, 6, 7. It would still be ravaging for 7, so my innate wouldn't stop this. We already said my innate wants to go in there anyway. So at least this gives me a shot of destroy a beast and solve that. Whereas this isn't changing really meaningfully at all in any direction with the town or city. So I think that's my explore on that board. And then on this board, again, I think I'm going aim for a beast, defending there. That is a land that we can in theory defend, and then maybe I can find enough damage to stop that killing us. 4 damage plus 1 is 5 could kill the 2 buildings. I don't know if I can find something for 4 damage. That's fast. I can think of at least a couple of slow cards that do it. I can also think of a card that does it on inland, which is that the air card that does it on inland. Forget what it's called. But okay, anyway, that's my decision. That's the way I'm going. Town, and explore, and then on that board I did it that way. So all my explorers are done. There's no escalation, of course, with coastal lands, which is at least something. Though I do have a slow phase here, so I have shaped the self anew. Oh, I forgot about the 3 energy for this as well. So I'm going to have 1,000,000 energy next turn. So let's go ahead and gain a minor power and see what we find. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'd really like something nice here. Prowling Panthers is not it. Veil the Knight's Hunt is maybe good with a combo with our defend, but elementally not really. Flow Down River is not it, and Haunted by Primal Memories is probably the one we want. It's not solving any of these ravages for us really, though. I suppose it could like solve something in there, for example. So it can solve a single ravage. Solve this. So Haunted by Primal Memories is the one. It's also at least closer elementally with the likes of Paralyzing Fright and stuff like that as well. So that's got to be the choice. So let's go ahead and take Haunted by Primal Memories. That's in our hand. And we of course forget Shape the Self anew to gain 3 energy. So let's go ahead and do that. And discard this. Pyroclastic Flow, I had that thing on it, but I did forget a card to Pyroclastic Flow, didn't I? Yeah, I threw away one of the cards. It was the one on the coast, the whatever that coastal thing is called, that pushes things. God, I can't remember anything. I'm getting tired here, guys. We're at, what are we? We're 20 to 12. We're still moving. I left my card cam on, of course. Apologies for that. Let's get ourselves a bit of water. Let's get a bit hydrated here. See if I can't push on and make something of this game that's really falling apart on me. It's tough. It's challenging. Maybe more challenging than I thought it might be. The thing about playing against the likes of 6/6 is that usually you've got kind of team compositions that are sort of fit to fight this kind of battle. There aren't many spirits that can do it on its own. Starlight is one of them, but you do need things to go your way, and unfortunately the majors haven't quite been going my way. Like that one there with I just threw it in the bin. I shouldn't be throwing that in the bin. That's of course not in the bin. That goes in my discard pile. Pyroclastic Flow there was clearly just nothing. It did nothing at all. Paralyzing Fright is great, but as I say, I need Rumbling Earthquakes or, that kind of card here. Vigor the Breaking Dawn. I need cards that are going to actually get stuff off this board. And hopefully we can find one when we go ahead and dig for a major power right now. So let's go. Major power button. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have Indomitable Claim. Okay, now we're talking. Tigers Hunting. blazing renewal, volcanic eruption. Okay. The volcanic eruption I can't get done, can I? Question mark. Maybe I can, actually. I say that, and then as soon as I say it, I'm actually wondering whether I can get that done. Indomitable Claim is obviously insane here, and that's going to be the default choice because it's really good on Starlight, as well as being just really good in like stopping this or whatever. But Volcanic Eruption is a way to just get rid of tons of plastic. What I can do with Volcanic Eruption is, I obviously am going to have the energy for it. And if I reclaim, for example, Pyroclastic Flow with a Reclaim 1, add a presence from either of these tracks to give myself another element, which I could give myself a fire, and then spend 1 energy to place a fire from the elemental invocation that will give me the threshold on Volcanic Eruption, and that might be a card that can turn this whole board of hell in my favor. So I'm going to be placing a million blight here, obviously, right? So this is range 1 from a mountain. Let's have a look at this card. This is a potentially a get me back in the game card here. I've also got Blazing Renewal here, by the way, which is another card that can do work. So that's another one we maybe need to discuss. But let's have a look at Volcanic Eruption here. So this is range 1 from a mountain, 6 fear, 20 damage. Destroy a whole bunch of stuff, destroy the hand, destroy beast, and then add a blight. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, if you have the threshold, then you get to destroy all invaders. Which, if 20 fear wasn't enough, now you get to destroy all invaders, and then add a wild, and then in each adjacent land, 10 damage. Destroy all Dahan and beasts, and if there are no blight, add blight. So the way I look at this is I'm about to add a whole ton of blight on this board, and I'm just wondering whether there's a way for me to just take advantage of that by just wiping out like a whole island tile, almost like Briny Deep this up a notch, like 10 damage in every land. Like if I can get a land with really good adjacencies here. Like we said before, like this land was like 6 adjacent lands or something like that. Surely there's at least one other that's got to be like 6 adjacent lands. I can spot at least one more. That's at least 6 adjacent lands. Is there anywhere that actually that land has 3 adjacent coastal lands? Unfortunately, it's not really, like the plastic is more over here. So this is, while it's got good 3 adjacent coastal lands is good news, the plastic is more situated on this side of the board. We're going to have a defend of 5 most likely this turn. If we redraw the Pyroclastic Flow, I won't have the threshold on it. This is again assuming it's I play the Volcanic Eruption game. I would have, obviously, with between Flow, Eruption, and my element on my bottom track, I'd have the 3 required for my defend of 5 and 8. I'm only going to have 2 card plays as well this turn, bear in mind, so they would be my only 2 card plays. So I could Pyroclastic Flow with just the base effect into, for example, in here, or in there, I guess, because it's a coastal land. So it's just going to stop that. And then I would have a defend of 5, which I think we said we'd put in here. So that would actually solve one of those lands for the most part. It's also not a building after the build. So that kind of, that's that problem solved. Defend of 5 in there, assuming we don't get edge cased. So that's one less problem. So the board looks a little less problematic in terms of what's needed for a volcanic eruption, because after this happens, the follow-up is coastal lands. Now, if I haven't solved this problem, that's gone triple blight. One in the drink, and then another one on a blight cascade. But a blight cascade here isn't necessarily too big an issue because it cascades into another land, and then you volcanic eruption in that land, and you don't have to place a blight from the card, which is at least something. But like right now, we're going to go ravage in here, place a blight, so that wouldn't take one from the eruption. We have that one that doesn't take one from the eruption. This one doesn't take one from the eruption. Blight Cascade, another one potentially, that one there doesn't take one from the eruption. So this looks like a pretty good spot for volcanic eruption, doesn't it? So you'd go place a blight in there. That would cascade into another land, which would potentially cascade into... Well, actually, I'd have to cascade in there because everything else is going to have blight in it. So we'll go blight, cascade into there. And then if I did the eruption in there, then we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 adjacent lands, all of which would have blight already. So we wouldn't be placing any more from eruption. We'd place 2 from eruption, 1 and 2. But then I've done nothing with the rest of my board, basically. I've gone blight, blight, cascade, blight, cascade, blight. I've just taken a billion blight on the board from that card. But if I do it that way, then I basically would solve. This is where I have to start placing tokens to understand what's actually happening on my board, because it becomes very difficult. So that would be a mess. Then it would build, and it would build another city. So it would be 3, 6, 8, 10. So it would basically clear that. This would be clear. This would be clear. This is gone. Yeah, that would be clear. This would be clear. So this is the only thing I've done this turn. So I would clear all of that, and then assuming I've maybe defended this, that would be clear anyway, I guess. So yeah, it would add a town back in or something like that. So, well, it wouldn't be clear, right? Because it would only this would only attack back and kill that. So there'd still be 3 towns in there, which would still be fine. So yeah, I'd clear that as well. So where's my other, I should have 6 of them. Oh yeah. One more from behind me, just to make this a little bit easier to see. So all of them will be clear. And then my problem lands on the following turn would be here, which we can defend. Here, which we could maybe defend. And then I guess this one has also become a bit of a problem. I mean, I stop it with the pyroclastic flow, but then it would go at least build a town or something. So okay, well, I don't know, maybe we can do something with that, but we kind of slightly stabilize the board by doing it that way. Slightly, but we take a billion blight. We take literally, if I count all the blight that we take from by doing that, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It would take 11 blight, which is just impossible. So as nice as all of that looks, I just take far too many blight. The problem is I don't have a great alternative. The alternative is not really ideal here because I'm taking a bunch of those blight anyway, and there's not really all that much I can do to stop it. Yeah, I mean, I can Paralyzing Fright, of course, which stops like 3 or something like that, which is nice. I don't think I can do this Volcanic Eruption play as much as I would really like to. Just taking like 11 blight or whatever I just said there is just not possible. Tiger's Hunting is going to be no good. It's a good card, but there's blight everywhere, and it's not going to do it for me. We know what a double claim is, so I'll come back to that after. Blazing Renewal, what can this do for me? If I were to, like, for example, reclaim... I don't know, Paralyzing Fright. I'm still miles away though with Blazing Renewal, so I don't really have the threshold from this. It's a good card, but it's hard. It's one that really wants the threshold. Actually, I don't even have any destroyed presence, so that's no good. So we are going Indomitable Claim, which is another stall the game out and don't really get rid of plastic card, but it is what it is. It's just one of them. So I'm going to take Indomitable Claim, and I'm going to have to pitch a card here for this. And if we drew this, then we most likely don't need Drift Down into Slumber, I would say. Let's get rid of all this. It's a pity. I would have liked to have played that Volcanic Eruption setup, but yeah, unfortunately, just not going to work. All of this comes back. You can go away for a minute over there. You can go away over there. I need to forget for this Indomitable Claim. In the middle of resolving this, I can return Paralyzing Fright. Which I mean, probably want to do, and then reclaim next turn and play like both of them again or something like that. Which is not a bad way to go about doing it. I'm still going to need a hammer, but that's keeping me pretty safe, and it's gaining me a lot of fear and stuff like that. So, although reclaiming and playing Paralyzing Fright won't give me the threshold, unless I do the Elemental Invocation, which I probably will. So if I would go reclaim this turn from this track, and then reclaim next turn, that would give me access to my two really powerful cards 2 turns in a row, which would set me up extremely well for the game. So I want to basically stop/skip these 2 lands, because they're my 2 big problem lands. Yeah, I think that's true. We're not going near this. We hoped would work with a beast. I can always push that out of there, for example. This we want to stop. This we said we were going to defend with our defend 5, and then that we're not touching, and then that is just one of them things. But the coast is where we need to be protecting ourselves right now. It's unfortunate that we don't have the hand in the lands for Indomitable Claiming here. That is really unfortunate. We'd like to find a way with the event or the fear card to be able to maybe pull some of them in there. That would be nice. But that's kind of just the tools we have to work with right now. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to Indomitable Claim. We're going to pull back the Paralyzing Fright with the other Reclaim 1. That's going to come back there. We have 2 energy from here. I still know I have to forget this. I'm working backwards as I like to do. So I'm going to gain my 2 energy from the energy track over here. I'm going to gain a single point of energy from unlocking this one here. That's just a one-time deal. So that's going to be 1 more. And that will be 3. 3 and 1 and 1. 5 left in the pool. The reclaim is going to, or the add a presence is going to go from there. We said that. So add a presence, gain a power, and reclaim 1 will be the 3 actions that we'll be taking. So we give up on the +3, but it's fine. We don't need it. We're not gaining an element right now, but we can gain a air somewhere, which would also go towards Pyroclastic Flow, which would be pretty nice in theory. So we want to defend the one with the hand, and we have range 1 in there, so that's fine. We have range 1 from a Sacred Site into this land, so we're going to Paralyzing Fright in that land, meaning we would like to place the air here if we can. And right now I can choose to either push that presence out of there, or I can push one of these presents, for example, like that. If I leave this presence here, it's a little bit more likely to defend, because sometimes you do defend it with your presence in the land. I'll remove that card cam again. So I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to move my presence from here to here. Yeah. Then I'm going to do my presence 0 in there to give me my sacred site back in that land. Push him in there. So now I can place my heir in that land there, and that will give me the threshold of paralyzing fright. It's worth it, I think, here right now for the extra four fear. As I said, I would actually quite like to pick up the heir as a track bonus for the pyroclastic flow, but for now we're okay. And I might again look for a big major again because I need my hammer. So I'm going to need a hammer, and I would like to keep my track elements free to get the hammer done. So this is the turn, and of course I'm going to get to Indomitable Claim here, which will give me. Actually, Indomitable Claim gives me access to my element that I just talked about. It gives me access to the air, so I don't need to do that. That's quite nice. Yeah, that's really nice. Okay, that's great. So I get to save. I get to save my thing. So if I want, I do get to save that presence, but I think I'm going to leave it there. Because I really want that to be defended if I can, to save 2 blight. So the presence being there does help. So let's do it like this. These 2 cards are here in my hand, and that's all good. So the question is, do I need to go this way to look for my reclaim? Because I can basically go next turn, I can look for another major, and I can reclaim one of these big cards again. Because I have Indomitable Claim, I get much easier access to my reclaim, and I'm much quicker. Like, getting access next turn to Fright and Indomitable Claim again is probably pretty amazing, isn't it? To be able to just basically do the same thing in both lands next turn when they attack. So yeah, no, we'll do it this way. Okay. So that's all of that. Indomitable Claim. Defend 20 in here, and place a presence, which I'm going to place from the reclaim node. That goes in there. That gives me 1 more energy as a one-time deal, and that's going to give me access to an heir. Because I can't think of a better thing to take right now. And this gives me my fright ability and also potentially the pyroclastic flow threshold, so it's got to be good. That's that. Now I have access to fright. It's going to be 8 fear. So that's going to be 1 fear card is 5. 2 more is another fear card. And then 1 more goes down below. So I've got 3 fear cards there that can potentially help me here in like this land or whatever. So it's not going to solve any of those big lands, but could help me in some of those. So the fright is obviously going in here. So we've got defend 20. We've got that in there. We don't have any more elements going on right now. We had, sorry, a defend a 5. Of course, we have defend a 5 going in here because it's touching off that element. So that's going to give me 5. I've got 1, 2 plus 3, so that's a defend a 5 in that land. We talked about that one before as well, but that otherwise is all of that. So let's go ahead and resolve our event here. And it's going to be Terror Spikes Upwards, another Nature Incarnate one. So, actually, that's fine. Terror Spikes Upwards, Terror level 1 or 2. If you have any earned fear cards, resolve the first one now as if the Terror level were 1 higher, then discard it. Otherwise, 1 per player, 1 fear per player, which is going to be the top part. So I'll just do that now, I guess. Resolve 1. So the one that I have is going to be technically the bottom one here. This is the one I resolved first. So this is going to be resolved in number 2. Each player may replace a town with an explorer in a coastal land, and that seems pretty nice, I would say. So that gets resolved obviously as trade suffers goes in there, and that's going to be resolved on my my second thing, which is pretty big deal. So let's go ahead and do that. Each player may replace a town with an explorer in a coastal land. So that's going to over here stop 2 city builds. which sounds amazing. So replace both of them with two explorers. I could... Hold on. On each board, in a land with badlands or a beast and buildings, destroy a badlands or a beast and 1 damage to the hand and 1 damage. So actually, in fact, yeah, let me change one of them then, because that is going to give me a solve. It's going to give me a solve over here. So let's go ahead and replace that with an explorer. That's going to give me a solve for that ravage, which is good news. So we'll do that. So now I have to choose on this side of the board which one of these things I want to do. It's kind of rough actually, that middle bit here. So if I do this and replace this back with a town, I would do what? Destroy a beast and deal 1 damage, which does nothing. Otherwise, I have to do the effect in here, which is yeah, no. I think I don't want to destroy that badlands. I'd rather destroy the beast. So I'm not going to do that. So I'll keep that one, but I'll replace this one over here basically, because again, that's easier to defend. So I'll leave that one there. This one gets replaced and that one gets replaced. That was what the trade suffers did. So now I finish resolving this card. So this is going to be on each board in a land with badlands or a beast and a town. Oh no, it doesn't work anymore because it doesn't have a town anymore. God damn it. Put the town back in there, and I will do the thing that I said before, which is them two, because the town is gone, so now the ability doesn't work anymore. So okay, now we'll do it again. In each land with a thing and a thing, destroy a beast and then 1 damage. So I'll kill that. So now it's at least a defender 1 away from being solved, which might happen in my fear cards. Unlikely, but it could be. Next thing is on this board I have to do it as well. In a land with a badlands. Yeah, so actually now I only have 1 choice with this, which is this one. So I have to destroy the badlands, which hurts, and then I do 1 single damage, which just kills this explorer. Destroying badlands is absolutely awful. I hate destroying badlands. It's not what I want to be doing with badlands at all. And then finally, on each board, in the land with the most Dahan, push half the Dahan rounded down. So this has got to be good. On this board, I get to at least now, in the land with most Dahan, so this is tied, I get to push half of them. I'll push that one in there, which would be an extra 2 damage in the ravage. And unfortunately, there's none on this board that I can push back in there, but I can do it in here. So I can push that in there, which is great news. Half the Dahan rounded down go in there, and that's already defended, which is lovely. So okay, not the worst. We survived that one. Terror spikes upwards. So now we're going to go ahead and resolve our other 2 fear cards. So that one worked out pretty okay. First one is tread carefully. Sorry, I've already seen it, but I don't want to look at the card below it. So tread carefully is going to be at terror level 1 still. Each player may choose a land with Dahan or adjacent to at least 5. Invaders do not ravage there this turn. Okay, that can help. Yeah, that can help. So I can pick this land, which is adjacent to 5 Dahan. So I think I'll probably choose that one. Where else am I ravaging over here on this board? We're skipped, we're defended. We can't do anything about that. So that's probably on this board there. And then on this side of the board, this contains Dahan, and I can stop this. This one is not adjacent to 5 Dahan, so that will not stop that one ravaging, but it will at least stop this ravaging. So that's pretty good. So I'll go ahead and prevent 2 blight with that card and save 1 Dahan with that card. So that is not bad. So tread carefully is resolved. Let's go ahead and resolve the next card, and it's going to be, will it save my ass? No, it's about exploring. Invaders do not explore into lands with at least 2 Dahan, so that's nothing at all. So we will put a reminder token on the explore card. So it didn't save our ass, and unfortunately we are going to take 2 blight off that off that town in the corner. It's a pity. We had a lot of chances to get something done there, but we just didn't quite get it done. The other thing that we could have done there, by the way, when we had 2 to hand in there, when we had a choice to push 2, I could have chosen to push 1 into that land, and that's a play that you would often make if you were desperately grasping at straws and you really needed to defend the land. You would push a hand in there, because often the hand being in land will prevent stuff happening. So that could have been an option. That was definitely a strategic choice for me to make. I pushed it in here because we already know that land's horrible. We already know that it's ravaging again next turn, so I could guarantee an extra town kill or whatever with that, and it would help me with the defend on the following turn as well. So it seemed like a bit of a no-brainer, but it is worth pointing out. Okay, now let's go ahead to the ravage here, and some bad things are going to happen, but some okay things are happening too, I guess. We will resolve our safe ravages first before we flip this card. So over here we're going to defend 20, which is fighting back and killing 2 towns. 1 and 2. 2 fear. Over here we're going to defend this land, and it's going to be attacking back for 6, which is killing a city, a town, and an explorer, which is 3 fear. So that's good news to start the day. 3 fear puts us finally into terror level 2. It only took forever. Okay, so that's good to go. We are now, so that's defended, and that's okay. Now we're going to go ahead, and this is obviously skipped because it's skipping everything, and this is skipped, so that's fine. This is also skipped, that's fine. I will ravage in this and this first, and I'm going to ravage in here last, because I might flip the card that lets you remove a town from each island board, which would actually save 2 blight there. Talked about this in a previous video. I think the order of when you want to flip your blight card matters sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. In this case, there's a chance for me to actually save something here, so I'll go flip, I'll go blight here, and then I'll go blight up in the corner. This is going to be the last one that gets removed from there, and as I say, the only land left to ravage is that land there. So let's flip this card and see what it is. Not that one. That one goes on the bottom, and then the next card is going to be flipped, and it's going to be downward spiral. Okay, fair enough. We're a little late in the game where this might actually not hurt us too badly. There are definitely worse blight cards in that game for me to flip over right now. So downward spiral is, of course, from the original base game, and it's a pretty hard one. And if you flip it early, it's awful. But now that I've got Indomitable Claim online, this might be doable. So that's 5. And of course that's each invader phase, so it's going to go there. At the start of each invader phase, it doesn't happen right now, right? Yeah, at the start of each invader phase, so that's not going to start until next turn. So that's okay. That was all of our ravages, and we have finally flipped the blight card. Now with the blight card is flipped, we will go ahead and go blight and blight. Not good, but okay. And that's all of that. Then we will do the after the ravage effect, which is going to add a billion more things on the board. So 1, 2. That's coastal. Over here, that is coastal. And this is the thing I talked about earlier on, where your 3 inland lands now all take towns, which is awful. So 1, 2, 3. And now we will go build in coastal lands. Build. 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 And build. So we have now 4 coastal cities that contain 4 coastal lands that contain cities, but not 5. So we still haven't died, but it's looking terrible. We've only got 3 blight left on the card, but let's go ahead and explore. Remembering that we don't explore into lands with 2 to hand, and that is another mountain. Which, I mean, I don't even know if any of them were okay explorers there, but mountain doesn't appear to be a particularly enjoyable one. So let's escalate first. So we're checking coastal cities or coastal buildings. Let me just double check that. Coastal buildings. Yeah. So let's go back here. And it's only going to be one town, which is something. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on that board, and over here it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the board that's taking now a town. We have to add it to the land with the fewest towns, which will be either this, or this, which I won't be picking. So I will choose the one containing Badlands. Actually, no. I'll choose the one containing Two to Hand because we're defending, not attacking in this particular game. So let's now go ahead and actually explore. Over here we'll explore with the final town that I have in my pool right now available to me. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and that land up in there is clearly a massive problem. Among all the other massive problems that we have, that one up there in the corner is a massive problem. And there's a stage 3 card coming just behind here, which is clearly, obviously, another massive problem. So we have no slow powers in this particular scenario, so we can go ahead and get all of this done. Did I forget that card to the Indomitable Claim? God damn it, why do I keep doing this? Did I forget a card to the Indomitable Claim? I may have forgotten this time because I have 3 majors sitting on top here. I think I might have forgotten to forget to the Indomitable Claim. Yeah, no, I did. Apologies, folks. I forgot to forget a card to that. At the time, I started talking about it, and I said the Drift Down into Slumber was a good combo with the Paralyzing Fright, and then I said that the Lure of the Unknown was a good combo with the Pyroclastic Flow, and then I kind of stopped thinking. Then I was looking at my hand, and then I just wasn't sure what I was doing anymore. So, Piece of the Nighttime Sky. Oh, dear. I think it just has to be Lure of the Unknown. It's just not going to do anything for the rest of the game. I know it's got an element on it, but like it's just never being relevant in this game for the rest of that. So it just had to be that card. So that's gone. So now we did that, and that's gone. And now we can reclaim and get those 2 cards back. And that would be our only 2 card plays. And then we just lose. Is that what we're saying here? Really needed that not to Ravage last turn. If that hadn't Ravaged last turn, I had some semblance of a chance. But that Ravaging and putting those 2 blight in there was just too much. Because that would have given me a chance to let this Ravage now. But now this is just one too many problems. Like, I mean, I've got a million problems over here, but I'm sort of thinking like some of these with the hand in them need to just be left and hope that I hit an event that does, you know, similar to the previous one, that does the defend of 2 in a land when things attack. So those are having to let go anyway. They're gone. We can obviously prevent this attacking, which is 1, and then we can Indomitable Claim in the other. So we have the kind of the double up that we talked about last time. I mean, I could Indomitable Claim in here, for example, and then just defend a 5 in that one with my innate, so that I can kind of reverse the order there. So I can prevent like 1, 2, 3. And then we have hope for the best with these 2, and then we still have a big problem land here. So technically the big problem land can go blight into the sea. That's 2 out of my 3 remaining blight, assuming that these get solved. That can obviously be solved by a beast attack as well, in theory too. So I think just Indomitable Claim and Paralyzing Fright is going to have to be just hope for the best. Obviously Paralyzing Fright gives me almost a fear card. Sorry, almost 2 fear cards. It puts me 1 short I could Indomitable Claim with the threshold to get me over and give me the extra fear card, which would give me another chance at these two. I might just do that. It means that this won't attack back, of course, because we'll skip, it won't actually defend, so I wouldn't get to kill this city, but getting an extra fear card right now might just be worth it. So the other thing that I'm thinking here as well is, of course, I can go reclaim all, because I have it unlocked. Sorry, I should have said that obviously last turn when I unlocked the thing. Clearly I was enabling my reclaim all, so I can reclaim all, get those 2 cards back. 2 energy off the top track plus the 6 in the pool is 8 for them 2 cards anyway, so I have that lined up. I don't need to do anything else except for reclaim to be able to do that. So that gives me a free shot at a major power, which could in theory do something else beyond those 2 cards. Now what else I can get beyond those 2 cards isn't really clear to me at this moment. Obviously right now I can also get access to 2 elements. So I could add a presence, gives me 1, and then Indomitable Claim gives me the other. So I can unlock both of these elements right now. One of them, for example, could be sun, or I could, well, I can't place the 1 in the land with the sun unless I use my +3 button. So that way would have to be reclaim, add a presence, and +3 button. Interesting. Let's take these back over here for a moment. I'll just mark those that were the 3 that we talked about before. If I want to do the sun for the Indomitable Claim, I can either take it on my track or I can pay 1 to do it into, for example, there, which is adjacent to that land. And if I do that, that would free up the other 2 elements for something that could work towards my, I don't know, something else on the board. So for example, I could unlock one of them as a air, which gives me access to this innate, which I could use to solve one of these lands. Yeah, sorry, we said we were defending a 5 in there, didn't we? We were skipping that land. So actually, yeah, we get the counter attack with the city because we were defending 5 in there. Sorry, but it's not making that much of a difference right now. We get to Indomitable Claim in there, which is actually going to be much better to skip in that one, of course. So we'd skip in there or fright, one or the other. It doesn't really matter. We're going to claim and fright into those 2 lands and then defend into that one. But I could now unlock. Oh, no, I can't. Again, the air innate combines with the defend 5, which has to go on that land. So no. And that's my only other. It's my only other fast power. What else can I do here? I could take those off. No. I was about to say I think give myself access to something fast, but no, that doesn't work. Because obviously Indomitable Claim would do that in the fast phase, and I've already gone beyond Spirit Growth at that point, so that's no good. So I think I'll have to give up on the +3 button plan that I talked about before. I would rather look for a major power here and hope to get lucky to find something that could in theory be better for me than one of those skips. I can't even think of what the card might be, but I at least have to look because I can't just keep reclaiming those 2 cards here and hoping that's going to be enough. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the first thing I'm doing. Bombard, that's not it. Strangling Firevine, that's not it. Pent-up Calamity, pretty good, but probably not it. And Wrapping Wings of Sunlight is good, but it's also probably not it. Pent-up Calamity, are you doing anything for me right now? A Disease and a Strife. Yeah, I mean, you're just not going to be better than Indomitable Claim or Paralyzing Fright. That's just going to be the end of that. Very little. We've next to no tokens out here on the board, so that's not going to be... Pent-up Calamity in theory can do stuff down the line, but again, it's not really doing it right now. I suppose Piece of the Nighttime Sky, now that I look at it, Piece of the Nighttime Sky actually skips 2 Ravages over here, so it does do it. Doesn't it? Yeah, so rather than Indomitable Claim, Piece of the Nighttime Sky is actually better, because it would solve 1 and 2, and then we could Paralyzing Fright into this land, defend that land, and then I'd have 2 lands attacking. Yeah, this major power that I'm pulling here, I'm not sure any of these are going to be relevant. Like Bombard, no. Wrapping Wings is good, but is it good enough? Move 5 from target land to any land, and then defend 5 in that land. It's a way to kind of loop through and start cleaning up stuff with Indomitable Claim later in the game, I guess, which is probably just going to be better than Pent-up Calamity, so... yeah, I can't really bring it together. None of these are just doing enough damage. Pent-up Calamity just doesn't have ammo. I'll take Wrapping Wings of Sunlight. Is it better than Pyroclastic Flow? Probably better than Drift Down into Slumber, I guess. Let's throw that away. Okay, this goes in my hand. Now, we said we wanted to play Piece of the Nighttime Sky instead of Indomitable Claim. So I could still reclaim all and not play Claim. That's insane, surely. Is it? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. That was the gain of power. And move a presence now. I want to move a presence somewhere. Range 1, maybe. The other thing I'm doing here is I'm going to reclaim cards and add a presence. Reclaim cards, get these all back in my hands. I need to do that anyway, so I'm going to be playing Paralyzing Fright and Piece of the Nighttime Sky. Add a presence is going to add from the bottom track, because I really want to be able to play loads of cards. So that goes from the bottom track at range 1. Paralyzing Fright we said was going in here. We said our Defender 5 was going in there, and then our Piece of the Nighttime Sky was going in here and here. So one more of these blue lads over here. Keep us on track in there. And then these are the only 2 lands that are getting left behind, and that is just going to have to be okay. Did I Was there a turn? God, I'm getting tired now. I think I may have done something crazy earlier in this game. Now that I'm looking at it, was there a turn where I used my defend 5 and 8 twice? I'm not going to be going back and doing all the editing on these videos from now on because it's way too heavy, so I'll probably never find the answer to this until it's uploaded online. But there may have been a turn where I did the defend 5 in 2 different lands with these two markers over here. I really hope I didn't do that, but it's not impossible that I chose 2 different lands with the defend 5. I don't think so, but I might have. Anyway, that's another day. So what I'm looking to do here is I'm looking to use my move a presence 1 to get a presence in a land with one of these things here. That's what I want to do. So that contains a beast. So I won't do it in there. I'll push you over there. You're in there. My growth 0 goes into that land. And then Piece of the Nighttime Sky is going into those 2 lands. Problem is, it puts me 1 behind. What I was really hoping to do here is to be able to Indomitable Claim and rush through and try to find. I was thinking about going for this node, the +1 card play, and Power's fast node, and try to find a major power as one of those big, slow, powerful cards that can potentially turn this around for me. That was what I was kind of hoping to try to do here. That's a way to get back in this game. That's a way to search for something. If I instead would take it like this. Next turn, I can go for this. I suppose I can do that next turn anyway, can't I? So this would be +1. If I go this track, this would be +1 from here. I don't pick up the element. And I would need to fright in where? I already said I wanted to fright into this land, didn't I? So I can do that. I don't need to unlock an element to be able to do this. So I can still fright in there. Piece of Nighttime Sky in there. I have my 1, 2, and 3 to defend a 5 in there. And then that goes from here. So next turn I can go and look for the big hammer. And do it fast. That would be gain a presence. Gain a power card. And then, add a presence, gain a power card, and this. So I wouldn't be able to reclaim. I wouldn't have my fright next turn, but that's okay. I also wouldn't have my +3 button next turn either. But that's also probably okay. I never took my +2 because I said I was going to get 2 this turn plus my 6. So I have 2 coming from there. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no. Oh man, that really tickled my funny bone. Piece of the Nighttime Sky. If the terror level is 1, invaders do not ravage it. Oh man, that is so beautiful. Oh my god, that's so good. I have been in terror level 1 for hours. For literally hours. And I just went to terror level 2, if I'm not mistaken. How many cards are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 cards, which were all my terror level 1 cards. I have literally just, by a single fear, no, 2 fear, right? That 1 up. Yeah. Sorry, 2 fear. I'm 2 fear too many that have put me into Terror level 2. I've been waiting the entire game to get to Terror level 2. And just when I get to Terror level 2 is the turn where I decide now is the turn to play the Piece of the Nighttime Sky. So I now cannot use Piece of the Nighttime Sky, which is one of the most hilarious things I think I've seen while playing this game. So clearly here, I'll just keep the drift down and throw away the card that I can no longer use as part of looking for a major on this turn. So, oh man, that is truly delightful. That is the funniest thing in the world. So obviously, needless to say, then in that case, I'll be going with Indomitable Claim this turn, and I'll have to just let that be, and hope that something happens in this land over here. So of course I'm not solving that. That's the funniest thing in the world. I cannot believe that. That is hilarious. So Paralyzing Fright. Now I'll be playing Indomitable Claim, which is going to be 4 more, as I say. So next turn now I'm going to have to... It'll be gain a power. Maybe +3 energy, and then this button over here, which will give me 6 next turn. That's not a lot. 1 in the pool. I guess I can Indomitable Claim to take the other one, so that would be in, yeah. Anyway, okay, it's not ideal, but it's just one of them things. It is, unfortunately, what it is. I have 4 lands attacking me next turn if I do this reclaim loop situation. But yeah, no, reclaim and looping isn't going to work anymore. So anyway, look, it is what it is. They're the 2 things that I'm going to do. I still think I want to go on this track and look for a way to heavy hit a land next turn, because I can heavy hit, but now Rapid Winds of Sunlight and Pyroclastic Flow. Now, if Pyroclastic Flow works into mountains, but like, look at this mess over here. They're not even going to remotely close to deal with that problem. Not even close. I'm going to skip all of this next turn. So a defend of 6 damage in there next turn can do what? 2, 6. It's 1 shy. There's not even dealing with that. 6 damage in here can solve that next turn. So Flow can solve that next turn, at least. I don't know why that's in there. It shouldn't be in there. So Flow could solve that. Rapid Wings of Sunlight together with something could solve. But again, I'm just nowhere near. It's nowhere near. Rapid Wings plus Haunted by Prone Memories could maybe solve that, and then maybe like my Defend 5 or something in there. But this problem is just the problem. That's the one where I need the big hitter majors, fast, slow to fast. But if I do that, what else am I doing here? I'm not even doing anything else. This is just... It's a disaster from all angles, unfortunately. But anyway, look, we'll gain some fear, and we'll skip some stuff, and we'll see what happens. So, Claim, Paralyzing Fright. We will get to gain 1 single element, which will give us the sun that I talked about for Indomitable Claim. So that will at least do that. So okay, let's go. So we did what we didn't move the present. Oh, we moved in there. Okay, so 8, which is going to be 4. Sorry, 8 is a fear card plus 3 more. We are going to Indomitable Claim. I could have done this in the other order. I'm pretty sure this works anyway, but I could have just reversed the order here. So I'm going to Indomitable Claim. I'm going to add into... This is the land we said we wanted to skip, right? So I'm going to add in there from the... I think from the... top track just in case I need a 4 energy at some point. Yeah, so top track goes in there, skip everything, but then so defend a 20 goes in there. But now when I reveal that, I'm going to reveal a sun. I'm going to place that sun down, and then if I have the threshold, it's going to work that way. Now, as I say, I could have just reversed this. I could have grown from there and then did it the other way around, so it would have been fine. But that's going to say 3 fear, so 1 + 2 more. And then invader skip all actions in target land this turn. So that's skipped. I now have, of course, the defend of 5 from my innate. Goes in there. Now this is a big giant problem that we talked about from before, but it just is what it is. So that's defended of 5, and then neither of these are done, and that one is skipped from paralyzing fright. So that's just the way that all goes. Now we'll go to the event. At the beginning of the event thing, I have to destroy one of my presents. I'll just destroy that one there. It's fine. It's not going to matter at all for this particular game. So let's go ahead and look at this event and see what it does. Unfortunately, that's not going to give us a hand defend. So healthy island, no. The other one is destroy 1 from each spirit. The next X blight added to the island this turn comes from the box instead of the blight card, where X is the number of spirits. Okay, well, that kind of helps. Self-sacrifice buys time. Okay. Put you as a reminder over there. I will sacrifice a presence in there, I guess. Yeah, sure. You get sacrificed, and then I don't remember ever resolving this, actually, to be honest. The next X blight added to the island comes from back, so it's only going to be 1. So it'll basically place one of the. It'll solve one of my ravages. I still need help down here. On each board, add a beast. So no more beast damage. And beasts just aren't doing it. On each board, add a beast to a land without buildings or blight, which is rubbish. Is there anywhere where that can even go? I doubt it. No. And then the last thing is on each board, gather 1 or 2 to hand into a land without setup symbols. So without setup symbols can be here. I'll gather you in there, and then without setup symbols, sure, in there. So without setup symbols. Okay, now I've got 3 event cards. Let's see if they can save the day. Number 1, these are Terror level 2. Each player adds a strife in a land with presence. There we go. So I did say that. Getting presence into a land over there might help us, and indeed it did. So we could only get 1 in there, but that certainly did help us. So that solves that ravage. And then that's just 1. Yeah, and then each spirit gains 1 energy per sacred site they have in lands with invaders, which is 1, 2, and 3. So I gain 3 energy, which is actually potentially very helpful for next turn if we get there. So that's that one. That's called the Theological Strife. I've got 2 cards left to really help me here. Right now, I'm still taking 1, 2, 3. So actually, I'm surviving the ravage because one of them is coming from the box instead. But still, we'd like to do a little better if we can. Each player also chooses. Each player chooses a land to isolate, and then each player chooses a different land to isolate. Also defend 2 in those lands. So that's one of my other ravages. So okay. So spreading timidity. Each player chooses a land to isolate, and then at level 2, it's each player chooses a different land to isolate. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Also defend 2 in those lands. Yeah. So you can't stack the defend. Okay. So I'll choose to isolate this one, which will give me a defend of 2, which is nice. And then I think I will just try, and I'll try to put an isolate over into this land over here. Let's swap you out there for now, and I'll put a defend of 2 in that land as well, just in case. If we can get 2 strife, if we can find a card here that lets us put add a strife, that might help. Did I? Oh man. Oh Lord. That's amazing. I played at least 2 fear cards in this game with the each player may do X. I did it twice. I'm just getting so confused because there's 2 boards. I've just been resolving these cards twice, so I have cheated several times. Unfortunately, I can at least point to one where it happened. So there was a couple of things ago. So I obviously only get to do this once, right? Each player. I don't get to do this twice. There's only one player. So obviously I won't be allowed to do that. So we'll take that back. That's the first thing. So that's that resolved. So now I'm reversing here. So each player adds a strife in a land with presence. Theological strife. Did I do that twice or did I only do it once? I did it here. Yeah, I only did it once, right? Yeah, so that's fine. Going backwards. Tread carefully. Here's one from a previous turn. Each player may choose a land with thing or adjacent to at least 5 things. Invaders do not ravage there this turn. So I obviously chose up here. I picked that one, and then I also picked this one over here where there was a Dahan in the land. So did that get defended with the Dahan in the land? I don't think it did. I don't believe so. Numinous Crisis. Yeah, I don't think so. No, so that would have taken a blight. Either that or the other one. I suppose I probably would have just taken the blight in there and left the Dahan in there. So I would have done it the other way around. I would have done it that way. So I have one less blight on the card. That's one reverse that we need to do here. And then the other one is I saw another one somewhere here. Discord. Each player adds a thing in a land with at least 2 invaders. I think when I did that, it was really useful in one land, and I think it was not so useful in the other land, if I remember correctly. So we'll go ahead and say that one didn't cause a blight, right? That was however long ago. That was I can't even remember. I might have put it in this land. It might have been really important. I don't honestly remember at this point. I can't rewind that right now. But what I do in this case is I have to place a blight from that one that I skipped, that I know for sure that I cheated on. So that puts me back at 2 blight now instead of 3. But I do have a solve, so I actually am only going to place 1 blight this thing. So we do get to keep playing. But yeah, I obviously cheated a couple times there. Big apologies to everybody there. And I just noticed I've a blight. I've a card in front of me because I had three things this turn, right? So I did what? Theological Strife. Then I did the Isolate one. So yeah, I have one more card, which is Fear of the Unseen. Let's go back here. Each player removes a thing from a land with a presence. So yeah, that's not going to save our ass in any real shape or form here. So I'll just remove one of these. You get removed, and that's fine. So okay. Let's go ahead then and do the Ravage step. Did I? Yeah, sorry. No, we're good to go. Let's go and Ravage. Coastal lands skipped. Blight into the ocean, but 1 comes from the box. That's down. That's down. 1 in the box goes in there, and that does not cascade. Over here, defended 5. Attack back, kill a city and a thing. That's going to be 2 fear. How many fear cards are we away? 4. And I have a billion cities on the board, so that's not going to work. So okay, 4 there. Over here we go. That's defended, so they're both going to die. That's another fear. Over here, this is skipped. Over here, this is going to die. That's another fear. And we've only got 1 to hand in there, so this explorer will unfortunately live along. So that's all right. Now we go after Ravage, and thankfully with the Coastal Lands card, we don't do the after the Ravage thing, which is nice. Now we'll go to the build on the mountains. So this is going to be obviously horrific. Build a city there. Build a city over here. build a city over here, and build a city over here. Wow, isn't that nice? 4 cities being built on my four explorers. That's really something. And then finally, we will go to explore. It's Sands Wetlands. So there's just no good news ever in this situation. Sure, there's no. So on this side of the board, we'll go wetlands, explore, and then the other 3 are inland. 1, 2, 3, and then of course on the other board we've got 2 coastal wetlands, 1 and 2, and then 2 inland sands, 1 and 2. This is rather hilarious. Unfortunately, we know Draw Towards a Consuming Void is one of the big nukes, and we've already thrown it away. So our +1 card play and the one of the powers is fast would have been potentially a way to solve 2 lands together with that card. But we know, unfortunately, it's gone. I'm pretty sure it's gone anyway. Draw Towards a Consuming Void. I played a game earlier this evening. I can't remember which of the 2 games I found it in. Let's have a quick look here. Is it in here? Yeah, unfortunately. Okay. And we're not going to be cast down into the briny deeping anytime soon with this particular board configuration of Starlight. So that's all our explorers done. Briny Deep would be a way out of this potentially, but not with those four ravages coming, and then 8 ravages the following turn. It's not. It's just not gonna come true. But we will fight on one more turn and see what happens. They're both gone. We're back to growth. Okay. I mean, look. I have Pyroclastic Flow, which does it even at this point solve any of our mountains. We can defend that. So that's one thing. So we can solve 1 land with a defend power. Then we have Rapping Wings, which defends 5, and that just isn't going to stop any of this mess. The least amount of things that are ravaging right now are 3, 5, 7, 8, 9. So that's not really going to cut it. Obviously, if we get some to hand into a land with Rapping Wings, that could be giving us extra options for fear cards and stuff like that. So that's potentially a thing. But right now, it's like Pyroclastic Flow. I can't even threshold the thing. If I gain myself a fire on the corner of a land, I could. But that's again 6 damage. Kill 2 cities, it's like maybe. So I can like maybe deal with 3 lands, but then I've just got that horror show up in the corner that I'm not even remotely close to dealing with. Paralyzing Fright, Indomitable Claim. What happened if I reclaim the 2 of you? That gives me what? 8 plus 3, 11 more fear. Which is 11 more fear is 2 fear cards plus 1, which would be 1, 2, and 1. That'd still be 3 short. I'd be 3 short. And right now, Paralyzing Fright, Indomitable Claim, and even Pyroclastic Flow, for example, would cost me 11 energy. I'm just nowhere near 11 energy. Take this, that's 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. And then the 3 energy button would actually put me to 10. I'd be 1 short. But I wouldn't be thresholding this at this point. Actually, I would. So take that from there, and then I could just unlock the element on the bottom. How close are we to doing this? Now I'm not playing wrap though. Now I'm playing flow, fright, claim, and defend will be my 4 actions. Is that correct? Oh, I can't be 1 energy short here, surely. Reclaim all. This is my hand. Reclaim all. Puts these back in my hand. +3 energy. And then add a presence. That's the way I have to do this. Which puts that up there. And that gives me 2. +1 is 3. +3 is 6. +4 is 10. Oh, that's so devastating. So it puts me 1 short, but if I play Wrapping Wings, but now I don't have the element. Now I don't have a way to threshold flow. Oh. Is there any card that deals with that and that? Highly doubtful. Rumbling Earthquakes. What can Rumbling Earthquakes do if I find it? If I find exactly Rumbling Earthquakes, I'll have the threshold. Will I? If I play Claim and Rumbling Earthquakes, I'd have 1, 2 plus Earthquakes is 3, and then I can claim off this for that element, which is 4. So if I find exactly Rumbling Earthquakes, that deals 18 between 2 lands, I believe. 3, 6, 9 plus 4 towns is 8 more, 17. It only deals damage to buildings. That would leave 2 explorers behind. And then I could claim into that land and then defend that land for 5. So there is a card in the deck, and that I could afford that because that would cost 6 plus 4 for claim. So in this case, I'd need to swap. Oh no, I'd need to... Oh no, it's no good. I can't. Because I can't gain a power here. I can't gain a power as well as do all the 3 things that I was talking about, which is no, it's nowhere near. I'd have to swap something here, which would be, for example, don't claim and swap the reclaim for the gain of power, and it would be like Rumbling Earthquakes plus like Pyroclastic Flood, which is nowhere near as exciting because I can't threshold it. But I can actually, sorry. I could play like Flow, Haunted by Primal Memories, and Earthquakes. But then I just can't solve that mess. I need Fright or Claim to solve that mess. Oh man, this is really something. So Reclaim on them just gives me solve, and then defend. But then I just have that entire mess in there that's just not being solved at all.
Four hours later.
Oh boy. I've been turning myself inside out. I've been looking at the Spirit Island card catalogue and trying to figure out, is there any card, any way I can get out of this? I have been studying and trying to solve, and I just can't solve. I can't give myself an out. I've been looking at, like, there was like a few cards in there. There was like Forest of Living Obsidian, which could kind of give me a chance. There's obviously the Rumbling Earthquakes I talked about. There's a number of maybes and nearlies. Not maybes, sorry, nearlies. I couldn't see anything that categorically was, there is a single major power that if I go and find it right now, it keeps me in the game. I just can't see one. Rumbling Earthquakes was probably the closest. As we said, Rumbling Earthquakes does solve this. It is 18 damage across a land and its adjacent land, so that wouldn't almost solve that. It would leave 2 explorers, but I can't Rumbling Earthquakes and do any sort of reasonable damage up here at all. Like, I would kill the 2 cities and two explorers, and I'd leave 3 towns behind. The only thing is, doing that would get me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cities. That'd be 50 in fear, plus 1, 2, 3, 4. 15 fear plus 4, 90 in fear. It would push me into terror level 3, which would give me a significantly better shot at solving that land, and I would, of course, still have the defend here. So I came back to say that I was giving up, and I was just going to go and do my reclaim option instead, and solve 3 lands and just hope for the best in the third. Can I take a shot at Rumbling Earthquakes? And then so I put this back before I went off on my long tirade of thing. I put this back, so I was thinking, if I didn't grow there, so if I shoot and miss, what can I do? I can still reclaim cards, gain the 2 of these back. I only had 2 card plays in my mind anyway as such, so I could still reclaim these. That'd be 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd still have to use the +3 button. I wouldn't get to grow, so I wouldn't get to play 3 card plays, but I'd still get to get them 2 back, play them, and then I could still Indomitable Claim to get access to, I don't know, like an element or something like that. So that gives me a shot at Rumbling Earthquakes, and if I find Rumbling Earthquakes, I go Earthquakes in there. I'd play the Earthquakes, so if I find Earthquakes, it will go like this: find Earthquakes, Praise of Pleasance, which would be that one. That would give me an energy. 2 more from here would give me 3, and then the +3 button will be things. So that was the 10 we talked about before, and then in that case, I could play Earthquakes plus Flow plus Drift Down into Slumber for the element that I need, the earth, and then I had 1 remaining for the to get access to the fire element for in there. Doing this, I could move a presence by 1 in there, so I would have access to that, and I already have access to a Sacred Side over there. So I actually have a shot at Rumbling Earthquakes. If I find it, I can play those 3 cards. I can do the fast Earthquakes. I still have the defend in here, solve those 2 lands more or less. I actually get even a defend of 1 in there, so I do get to solve that land, and I'd leave 3 towns behind, but I'd gain loads of fear, and I'd have multiple terror level 3 cards to try do something about that land. And if I miss, I still have access, as I say, to the other fallback plan, which is this +3 and then the reclaim, which gives me enough energy, right? 4, 7, 9. Yeah, that gives me enough energy. Okay, so I get a shot at it. I actually do get that. That's what I seem to have figured out here. I have a shot at Rumbling Earthquakes, and if I find it, it gives me a reasonable chance in this game. So come on. If ever there was one time, show me the heart of the cards. And if I hit this, no one's going to believe me that I didn't pause the video and put it on top of the deck. But I'm going to try. It's now 1:15 in the morning. If I get this and I hit this, children may be woken up by me screaming. So let us see. I'm obviously obviously going to slow roll this as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we go. Come on now. Come on. Tickets erupt with every touch of breeze. That ain't it. That's the one I was trying to remember earlier on, by the way. Come on now. 3 left. It's spill bitterness into the earth. That's not the earth card we're looking for. Come on now. 2 more shots at it. Fire and flood. That was one of the other ones I was looking at, but I couldn't quite make it work. We got 1 more chance. Come on now. Rumbling earthquakes. Come on. Oh, it's wind of rust and atrophy. That's another one I was thinking about. Could I possibly make work? But no, I'm not gonna hit the threshold on that one, obviously. So that one's not gonna work. Spill bitterness is a non-starter. Adding blight, tickets erupt is a non-starter as well. That's obviously not going to do anything. And winds of rust and atrophy here, I'm just not going to be able to threshold that card. So that's a non-starter as well, I would say. Defender 6 is just aren't going to cut it here. So that's all gone. Do I keep fire and flood and try to use that to generate a bunch of fear on sort of 12 a couple of lands next turn, or 8 a couple of lands next turn? See, that's just not gonna. I guess I might be able to fast phase it, but like I can't even threshold this thing. I'm nowhere near thresholding it. I might keep it anyway, just in case. Because let's face it, I'm definitely not surviving the Ravage next turn. That isn't happening. So my only out in this game is load of fear this turn and then load of fear next turn, basically. And I think Rumbling Earthquakes is still the only chance I have at doing that. So in that case, I think I just throw fire and flood away. Maybe I throw Rapid Wings of Sunlight away, just in case. Okay, and then so we need to do this then that I said. So that was the shot that we took. We missed. We have a chance to move our presence. We are going to gain 3 energy. We are going to reclaim our cards, and then we have a chance to move our presence. So that's going to obviously down here. It's going to be 2 energy as well. So that's going to pay for these 2 cards only. We're going to want to Indomitable Claim in somewhere, and Paralyzing Fright obviously as well. So Indomitable Claim is going to want to go in there. Paralyzing Fright is going to want to go in here, and then we're just hoping for a skip or something like that, or possibly a way to put a blight back on the blight card, but that's pretty highly unlikely. So it comes up though the odd time. So let's do it like this then. So do we need to move a presence anywhere? I don't think so. We did say we probably want presence in that land for something. That might have been one of my roundabout searches in the back of my brain for something that might be needed in that card. No, we want to put a presence, a land. We want to put a presence in a land with this to stop that ravaging. That's what we want to do. So that's okay. And we still have the Paralyzing Fright over there. So that's all paid for. We have a Defender 5 in here, which solves that. We have Skip Everything up in there and generate 3 fear. Then we have Skip Everything in here and generate 8 more fear. So that's going to be a fear card plus 1. And then plus... So fear card is 5 plus 1 and then plus 2 more. Down there. So we're 3 short of Terror level 3. 3 fear short of Terror level 3. And we of course get to Indomitable Claim here, which gives us basically nothing. It'll give us a shot at 4 energy. Well, we have a shot at 4 energy next turn. We have a shot at that next turn. So I guess we get a shot at 3 plays next turn potentially if we want it, although we have 3 plays going that way. No, I might want the 4 and this. Yeah, that's the other thing's not going to come up. So yeah, we'll go for this. Yeah. Sorry, that's into that land over there. Yeah, and that gives us 1 more energy. Okay. and we don't need... Yeah, we've no other elements that can do anything, right? In theory, we could. Oh no, because I keep forgetting we're mixing the air on the thing, so that's not going to work. Fire's no good. Removing a blight's no good, and the slow. So none of the rest of this is okay, and we can't gain access to the sun because it targets yourself, not a land, so that doesn't work. So okay, we have. How many fear cards at terror level 2? We have 3 of them, and we're 3 fear short. If we could somehow get 3 fear off this event and level all 4 cards up to a stage 3 thing, that would be absolutely amazing. But it's unlikely, but we can give it a shot. So we're keeping presence in those. We're going to go probably just sacrifice this as part of that effect there. Flip over the event, and let's see what happens, baby. Come on. What is it? It's a terror level 2 on each board and land with exactly 1. The hand, it's cultural assimilation. Okay, so we have to replace a hand with a thing, which isn't necessarily going to make any sort of a difference here. We do get beast damage, which will give us access to one fear. Unfortunately, only 1. So okay, in a land with exactly 1 to hand that is adjacent, that has or is adjacent to. I'm going to replace the thing. So this one here on that board will get replaced with a town. Lovely there. Some more here. Town up here. And then we have on this side of the board we have 2 lands that are available that will do it. So yeah, sure, up there. We'll keep that to hand just in case. Now, you're gone. You're replaced with a town. Then we have the beast, the attack, so that's going to kill that. That's going to generate 1 fear, so we're too short, unfortunately. But we might find a card that deals damage to things. And then on each board, choose a land with at least 2 Dahan and at least 2 buildings. Each Dahan destroys a thing. Oh! No! I can't believe it. We only hit 1. Oh no, we don't. We hit 2. On each board, choose a land with at least 2 Dahan and at least 2 buildings. No, we only get 1. We don't have it on this board because we only have 1 building in that land, but we do hit it over here. And at least 2 things. Each Dahan destroys 1 building and then add a blight. Oh no. Here's me desperately searching for the place where this matters, and then I just realize over here, yes, I get it, it's amazing, yeah. And then I just realize, okay, so each of those Dahan are going to destroy a building, and then I'm going to add a blight, which is going to lose me the game because it's cultural assimilation and it's an awful event. So unfortunately, that will lose me the game here. Yeah. So kills. I generate all that fear that I was talking about. That's 3 more fear. That technically would put me into terror level 3, but of course I don't win the game because there's a trillion cities on the board, and then over here each Dahan destroys thing, and then I add a blight, which goes blight, cascade, and I lose the game. Well, there we go. There's a loss. That was a pretty epic one. As a matter of interest, let's have a quick look and see would any of these stage 3 cards have solved the situation for us. So we need to skip a full land, which is highly unlikely. So no, there's a way to deal 2 damage in there. That's not going to do it. On each board, gather up to 4 into lands with 2 or more invaders. So I can actually gather. So the first thing that would have happened is I would have gathered that in, and I would have dealt 2 damage. And I would have killed this because it would have been first. Now the second thing I would have done is gather up to 4 explorers or buildings into lands with 2 or more invaders. So I could gather the 4 of them out of there into here, but I still have a city left behind. Each player chooses a different coastal land. In each, gather up to 1 and 2 damage per the hand, so that's not going to do anything for us. And then finally... No, wouldn't have done it. Scapegoats. No. It wouldn't have done it. Close though. I mean, I say close. There's about 1 billion pieces on the board. It's been a very long game. I really appreciate you being here. I am probably going to end up cutting that whole horror show of a game out and just playing this one instead. I'll put a little disclaimer or something at the start and say that we had a disaster. It looked awful, so I just played the second game instead. So even the second game was probably super long. As you can see, very complex. I'll try cut out some of the thinking spots, but I unfortunately have a habit now of just thinking everything out loud, so it becomes very hard to find the spots and the thing that are actually worth cutting out, or at least just finding them in the clip. But I am far too tired to keep talking right now. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed some of the crazy madness that was going on here and got to enjoy a little bit of Starlight as well. So really appreciate you being here. See you next time. Actually, no, not yet. You won't see me next time. I never told you what's coming up on the next episode. We're going to do a deep dive into elements. It's going to be amazing. We're going to talk everything about elements. That happens when I get home from vacation. Now I'm actually going to bed. Good night, everyone. See you next time. Peace out.